Welcome home, gamer, and welcome back to Mechabellum for Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. Tournament starts in about 6 minutes. Voice is quiet, huh? Alright. Let's pull that over. Oh, this is just your side. Excellent. Alright, tourney is in 6 minutes, and we've already got a solid starting lineup with Dillo, Sacco, Rooster, Zemp, all in. HD Susauer, Tungdill, Shade. I see Baller playing under the Nightcrawler name. A whole bunch of these folks will be playing tomorrow in the Launch Clash qualifying tournament, which should be a very interesting match. Also fun, this is the first set of tournaments we've had that are going to be sorted by MMR. So we've got 151 participants. The bottom half of the table, folks with one MMR, playing their first competitive match, one would assume. So you'll see halfway up the table, or so. Looks like the halfway mark is going to be around the 1300 MMR. So I think we'll split about here, looks like. And then, top half of the group will be facing each other. Bottom half will be in the rookie group. So really excited about that change. I think it's about time that we had that change. And it's a really good thing. Love that 4 of our folks have already climbed back above 2,000 after losing 10% of their MMR in the season reset. In theory, I have a Clint Leetwood joining me this morning, but he's not shown yet. I think I have it on the right audio pickup for him, though. And when he gets here. Is it you and Unrivaled ground 2v2s last night? 8-1? Very nice. Titan and I tried to. We went like 2-5 or something. 3-5. Not what we were expecting. You did beat us. Yes, I remember you. That's why I recognized the Nightcrawler name. You got an email yesterday that your laptop would arrive this morning. That's good news. 205 participants, so we've got 2 groups still. And joining me in the booth is Clint Leewood. Hello, hello, Clint. Good morning. I did not pick up your voice on the outbound stream. Curses. I'd have sworn I had that right. Try again. It does not love us. No. I think it's just a, I've got to close all Chrome windows and try again. Thank you. Check, check. Say something, Clint. Nope, still nothing. For flip's sake, why is this so hard? Alright, we're gonna do the delete and re-add, I think. It is a beta thing, this capturing audio. All right, folks, welcome to Weekend Tournament 73 Asia. Let's see who we have out there that has a fun Miasim versus River Skende. Looks like it could be fun for sure. I'd be happy to follow some unrivaled super hottie as well. Hey, we pick you up now.
Oh, nice.
You're like v Rooster. Round 1. Yeah, that's the match, isn't it?
Let's do it. I feel like Bearlike has a very interesting style when it comes to playing this game.
I just love how much he's throwing off the, he throws out whatever they're thinking of for the new units and loves to just show off ways that people could be using the new units that they aren't necessarily. I always find that really fascinating.
Yeah, he actually has a really good record against Sacco too as of late, which is crazy.
How is the sound balance between Clint and I today? So far, so good. Excellent. Welcome to round 1 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. Have we got a treat for you? First round matchup. Bearlike, the CEO of Green River Studio, the developers of the game, versus Rooster PB. Let's go! Fire Badger Specialist for Bearlike near side with a Mustang and Marksman start. Rooster, far side, Aerial Specialist, going with Crawlers and Tarantulas. Rooster is the number 6 seed in the tournament. Tournament seeded by MMR for the first time. Excited to finally see that. That's been a long time in the making.
Yeah, it used to be seeded by combat power, and as of late, in 1.0, that has been changed. 1.0 brought a lot of changes, especially to the standard v standard meta. And realistically, that's kind of what it looks like we'll be seeing in this game, is a maybe unconventional standard v standard start. Usually when you see these large crawler packs with these tarantulas, you usually see them near or on the line. In this case, they're kind of in halfway point.
Yeah, it's a half aggro, right? It's further forward than normal, and that's an interesting deployment from Rooster. It's not one I've seen before.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of leaning into that idea that a lot of people pose as like the optimal way to play, which is like a non-committal board. You know, lots of crawlers, one, do very well into Mustangs, and two, kind of leave you open to building out a more well-rounded comp later.
Yeah, he's not committed to any given comp, he's not committed to any given positioning.
But I think a notable little tech to talk about here is that Bear-like runs Assault Mode Marksman, and I think that is super neat. I think with the addition of the Farseer and another cheap EMP option in the 100 cost EMP tech on Farseer, Assault Mode Marksman got actually significantly weaker. And here we go, right? Round 2 unit drop, Farseer.
If that's what
it does make that decision a little difficult. Yeah. But more notably in Dev Pro, Bear-like used Assault Mode Marksman to handedly defeat a Thaco push. So I wonder if he's thinking he's got something figured out.
And the finals of the Weekend Tournament Americas, Rice used Assault Mode to defeat Woot's boat pushes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because it works well against the Wasps. It worked, and then he has anti-air on them, so they're getting the extra range back against the boats, and he was able to have enough of them in enough places that you couldn't just jump drive to anywhere and attack from them. So Bear-like was a Fire Badger specialist, and it does look like we might be seeing an Assault Mode build, because he's gone with a flank Marksman and a flank Fire Badger, with a regular Fire Badger on the right. For Rooster, instead of Farseer, it was the Scorpion. So Scorpion is a good way to deal a whole lot of damage and can take care of Assault Mode Marksman. But also, I think he was thinking.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he's presumably thinking about the existence of the Fire Badgers and wanted something that would take them down as well.
No, I think that's a great call. I think it's a great answer to Fire Badger spec. The reality, right, is that it also does pretty well into Mustangs. But now I was going to say we actually have like an ASIM sort of imbalance on both sides of the board, with Rooster favoring his left and with Rooster favoring his left and with Bear-like favoring his right.
Right.
Round 3 comes in. We see additional deployment picked up by Bear-like and a skip from Rooster. How do you feel about that?
I think it was the shield airdrop by Rooster, right?
Oh, the shield airdrop, yeah, the spell. Yep. Right.
The shield airdrop is really good value. In my opinion, it's one of the best value spells out there, because you're going to want to drop a shield for 100 anyways. You get a shield that is stronger than a normal shield, and it's a shield that comes back. And by the way, it's a shield that you can drop in slightly into opponent's territory or on a flank. And as you can see, he's dropping a flank. Bear-like takes replicate crawlers. One of the advantages, of course, being the Fire Badger specialist, as you know your opponent is not going to get Fire Badgers, so you can invest a little bit more into crawlers than other folks can. He has not taken the assault mode, though. Does get some good locks on that left side to Tarantula.
was going to say, I wonder if the Phoenix read from PB here is an attempt at like being ahead of the assault mode marksman. It kind of already goes pretty well naturally with the tarantulas, right? But it feels weird to go Phoenix into. I feel like usually, right? The marksman player's advantage there.
A lot of people think that, I guess, but I don't mind doing Phoenix into marksman personally, because I feel like I get more deploys, right? If I'm deploying, if I use 2 deploys on Phoenix, I've got 4 Phoenix. If my opponent uses 2 deploys on marksman, he's got 2 marksman, and the Phoenix by themselves deal a little bit more DPS. So
That's fair.
Don't necessarily mind losing the range war there. I figure if I'm going to win the chaff war, then I'll. But you are right. You've been right all along. Here comes the assault mode.
I think the math gets significantly weirder though when the marksman is not running aerial specialization on the board, and Bearlike doesn't. So we'll see how that plays out. Replicate crawlers into a level 2 Arclight feels a little spooky. I don't know if that's a great answer from Bearlike.
Down in that corner, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to take that barrier down, too, because it's the 50,000 hit point one. But he's got the marksman there to try and do it.
It's just, I don't think it will.
I think the idea of that first pack of crawlers was actually just keeping the Arclight pinned in there so you could bring so you could actually bring the shield down.
Yeah. And with...
Oh, goodness. He's so close. He got it. Loses both towers, but moral victory. Takes down the shield.
Yeah, Bearlike losing left, right, and center right now. And I feel like one of the hard parts of this game is when you have more than one problem to deal with. And Bearlike currently has 3.
Yeah.
I think the replicate crawlers on the bottom right is an insufficient answer to Arclight at any point, right? If there's chaff ever in front of that, you can't interact with it. I think a Rhino is a much more succinct answer, and it's a traditional answer to these like hard committed flanks, I feel like.
Right. Now, part of the reason Rooster won that last round is that he took Impact Drill. And as we found from previous builds, the Impact Drill crawler beats a Replicate crawler head-to-head, as long as they're the same level and effective strength. They're not quite the same effective strength, because Bearlike has plus 15% hit points, but that has turned out to be insufficient with the this particular breakpoint.
And it looks like even in this brawler matchup, PB is favored. He has Impact Drill and Replicate, and Bearlike does not. He's running a more like supportive brawler. PB's running a more like carry aggro centric brawler, and if PB ever clicks that Replicate button, suddenly Bearlike's going to have to also deal with the chaff war. He's going to be losing that pretty handedly.
Right. Rooster added the Rhino on the corner, and that was insufficient this round. Without the shield down there, the flank defense works. Everything else is losing for Bearlike. He's lost tower especially. Painful. And you are right there. The bit that was interesting about the crawler war is that Bearlike's not running Impact Drill, so he can't just match the tech choice that Rooster has made. Redeployment?
I'm
you have a
honestly
problem you want to fix? Which I think Bearlike certainly does. That would be one of the ways to do it.
Yeah, we could easily tuck in one of these Mustangs into the middle. That way it doesn't get pulled to the right. And Bearlike does take redeployment. I think that's a great call.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to redeploy this Fire Badger off the flank. Yeah. It's right in the face of a Rhino, so You could see it light
With
up
the
green.
whirlwind.
It was the thing. It was the thing to
That's
redeploy.
funny.
Yeah.
I find it honestly shocking how close that last round was. I don't feel like it should have been.
I mean, Assault Mode Marksman does scale, right? Like, that's the danger.
That is true. At a certain point, right, their mini AoE fortresses just,
Yep.
shotgunning down your entire board. So an interesting counter that I've ran into on ladder against Assault Mode Marksman is EMP Hacker.
Yes. That's the one that everybody, if you're just learning this game, that's the one you should learn.
It is such a fun counter.
The idea there is the EMP negates the tech. The tech is what is giving them all the hit points. So as soon as the tech is negated, they have far fewer hit points. And then you hack them. As soon as you have finished hacking them, they're yours. The EMP is no longer applied because you don't apply EMP to your own unit. You only apply it to your enemy's unit. So they get all of their hit points right back. So... yeah, it's a very nice one. And then, of course, you can have the long... you can give them the hacker range and outrange the assault mode mark as well.
Yeah. And at that point, as long as you can clear the chaff, or the assault mode marksman clears your chaff,
Right.
like you got it.
Right.
Then, wow.
Rooster
Bear-like-
keeps winning these, but not by enough to knock Bear-like out. We go to a round 7 with Bear-like at 436 hit points. We get the second set of unit drops.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Bear-like slams the wasp. I agree. That's what I would do in this scenario too. I feel like the only thing I'm afraid of is these phoenixes in terms of punching power.
Right.
I have a bunch of levels to take in these marksmen, so let's just get those covered up and try to take a round.
Yeah, there is no anti-air, particularly on Rooster's board, but it is spooky to take wasps on the round that Typhoon was offered. Rooster, basically reading this board, reading that set of drops, said the one thing that can beat me right now is the wasp. The thing from the drops that can beat the wasps is the Typhoons, so I'm going to take the Typhoons.
Really important question to be asking yourself in my mind right there is, how can I lose?
Yep. It's not
What are my opponent's outs?
Yeah, it is not which of these units is better. There's no vacuum better anymore. You're this deep into a game.
Yeah, I think if PB just continues his plan, and like we were talking about the crawler roar earlier, and here we are, we're pressing replicate and impact drill, which gives a significant advantage to PB. His crawlers always win.
Right.
At this point.
And note the positionings here, right? He's got the crawlers on the line, but they are in under the shield bubble of the Typhoon. So things like these frontal assault mode marks, and their first shot is going to be onto the shield bubble, not onto the crawler. And even if it pops the shield bubble, they've done their job in terms of keeping the crawlers alive to start replicating.
PB doing a very tricksy little thing there. There is an AMS behind the rhinos eating the first missile.
Mm-hmm. Right.
However, there was a double missile.
Bear-like has seen this trick before.
And Bear-like with a dominating performance right now. I don't know why that was this way.
That was pretty stunningly good. He took range on the marksman is the biggest change, I think. So they were finally engaging at range. He gets back 40% of 40 meters of the 70 that he'd given up.
Yeah, it significantly outranges the tarantula and outranges the scorpion, so that makes sense. The scorpion was like kind of the punching power there.
And it outranged the Typhoons as well.
Yeah.
Both sides have the orbital javelin this round. So you could use that to, for example, take out a cluster of units. There's a cluster down there as well. Or you could be aiming at the blender here. That's interesting.
That orbital jab could be devious. that flank might win now.
Right, but Verlick is going to win on his back left because there's no anti-air down there.
Oh no!
He's got the teleported. Yeah, teleported Wasp flank back there.
Is that too far away from the tower?
If he doesn't take range, I think it is, yes. Mistake that I've seen more than one player make.
That, I think at the tail end of the tower, like 3-ish wasps might get or at the tail end of the middle bit there, 3-ish wasp might turn.
He's taken the range, so they're up to 65 meter range because he took temp range from tower. So I think this actually, it might be close enough. It could be close though. Here is the hacker answer, as you talked about.
Hey!
You called it in advance. So we get to see what that looks like.
I'm not taking the mobile beacon!
Hero wasps there. They're like, we'll go fight the Phoenix for you, and then we'll go to the tower. Just because you guys missed it. It's fine.
And Bear-like win?
Bear-like wins outright. On the ropes through 6 rounds, turns it around, wins outright. Rooster, your number 6 seed in this tournament, upset by the dev himself. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And kind of think that pivoting into the hackers might have been a mistake here. It is canonically the right choice, you know, to throw them down, but there's just so many assault mode marksmen. And I do like what Bearlike did on that last round. He kind of identified where there was a cluster that you might jav out and dropped some new marksmen near it so that they would be outside of that range. And that's why he didn't lose this corner too badly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he actually kind of won that corner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think PB's mistake here was I don't feel like these rhinos ever did anything on the left.
This group.
Yeah, I don't feel like they ever take a tower. I feel like they were literally just feeding that level 5 assault mode marksman to the right of the left-hand tower for Bear-like.
That is true. They did feed this one a bunch. Yeah, even the round that they dropped, right? That he first dropped 2 of them, they got missiled out.
Yeah,
just
like it was a read from Bear-like.
Yeah, he had the safety missile. And then he had the double missile the next round. So he played that tower defense really well.
Yeah, and you might say, right, like, oh, if I'm forcing a double missile from my opponent, right, I might be eking out an economical advantage. And that's like kind of true, right? But they're also kind of making that up for getting the free levels. And the reality, right, is even if you are getting that, at a certain point, there's like this relative cost of both armies. Like how much army of mine is left versus how much army of yours is left.
Right.
And if I get to delete, 600 credits of your army, that's a big deal. I think EMP hackers might have made a mistake. Might have been a mistake right now because there's the snowball's too far down the hill. Personally, I think this should have been an answer much sooner. I think we messed around with rhinos way too much.
I kind of agree. We needed to do the hacker a lot earlier. The hacker needed range, and we needed a couple more of them to be turning more of these more quickly. By the time there's whatever this is, 17 or so assault mode marksmen, it's really tough to stop.
Yeah.
Congrats to the 9% of you that backed Bear-like in that one. Let's see what other matches we can jump into or what the situation is out there. We've got 9 matches still in progress. What about Woot? Woot's opponent is entertaining.
We'll just call him BSG.
Yes.
You want to check him out? Let's see what's going on there.
Match has ended. It looks like Zach is in a lot of trouble against... is that blue hair? That would be blue hair, right?
That tracks.
That tracks. In a lot of trouble, he is.
I'm opening it up right now. Yeah, blue hair is a tough one, man. I ran into him a couple times on ladder, and he suplexed me.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh.
I jumped into the Unrivaled Super Hottie game, since that's probably the one with the most hit points left on the board, which is entering around 10.
Oh, cool. Mustang Fortress, Unrivaled. After my own heart. Okay. And against a very traditional answer in my mind in Vulcan Melting.
Yeah, it's the Exodia build from, looks like, one horse. And so Exodia, if you've not heard the term before, is this Vulcan melting point, the idea being that they answer pretty much anything the opponent can throw out on the board. It's not strictly true, but it's pretty darn close. And when they're backed up by Mustangs, they actually do answer pretty much everything the opponent can throw on the board.
I think Unrivaled needs to be beaking in some big fortresses into stuff here. I think we need to be forcing the fortresses forward as quickly as we can. We need to get on the melters before, 1, the EMP barrage hits, and then 2, an absorption module locks. So this is a very, very tight scenario. It's hard to play for both players.
They are range launcher overload as well as barriers, so those forts are pretty beastly. You can see they do delete a melter down here in the corner, delete one in the middle, delete a third. We're losing forts, but he's losing melters faster. We finally get a tower. And Unrivaled Super Hottie has this. Gonna win that round solidly, and that should be enough to win game. This level 8 Rhino is a beast, but it doesn't even get a tower at the end. So Unrivaled Super Hottie is through.
I think that's like textbook fortress staying. Real quick, in the view the battlefield, do these phoenixes have... Oh, did you already click out?
No. Yes. Sorry.
I was gonna ask if the phoenixes had EMP in range, because I've done that. I do that. It's such a great answer to those melters at the end.
Yeah, EMP ranged Phoenix is my build as well. All right. I'm going to go around the room, I think, and answer or sum things up. Teddy came up against You Are the Flower Fairy of Penglai and discovered why that player is world number 1 and the number 1 seed here. Saracha beats Zand. ICD upsets B-Man, very nicely done. Woot beat BSG. Miasim beat Rivruskende. HD Susauer over Neopulse. Blue Hair beats Salt Monkey. Reven over Morlocks. Further down, we've got Stupid Vegetables beat Sakura. Unrivaled Super Hottie beat One Horse. Fraud lost to This Is the End. Professor Shadoff beat Till. Armeria over Pikokishi. Flix beat Ava Stigma. Alpha, the Russian player, beat Yes Win Big. Coin wins over Baller. Hoiberg beat... What is this one? Aspiring to be the cutest. Aww. Worst toast. Worst toast. Here's the cutie. Aspiring to be the cutest. Steel Sane beat Thunder. The Transben... Transben, What's a Woman, beat Shade. Shiroha loses in round 1. There's a surprise. Lost to Cat Emperor. We've got Lynn is still going against Who Doesn't Have Some Emotions. Tungdil beat Mighty Mirage. Vic, with a very nice win, beat Monson Sternben. Monson Stern. Genetic loses to Master. Ollie T Die beats Zem.
Ooh.
There's a shocker. Wow.
It wasn't close either.
Wow.
That's brutal.
That's surprising. Bearlike beats Rooster. Sacco and Dillo both threw pretty handily, it looks like, by the scoreboard. Further on down, Sentry of the Fruit Bat, the Lion, Lockjaw, Neza, Rocky Heart, Dorgon, Luck Hard, all getting wins, along with is this cute egg fried rice, Camos, Poncho Osan, Agod, 38 degrees Celsius, EOZ, Minghua, Insert Here, 91 Verist. Oh, it's nice to see Verist back. Tucker, Elsu, Bobby Fisher, Hicks, Photon, Animosis, Jacko, Blonde Lover. Blonde Lover had the bye, of course. Sleepwalking, and Palmuha. Look at that. Wow. Down at the bottom of the group, we had 3 players fail to ready up. If you're new to tournament action, it is not like it's not like a ladder game where you click ready to accept the match. It is where you click to dodge the match. You must click ready to accept the match, otherwise it doesn't happen, and you forfeit. So we saw 4 people forfeit this round.
So 2 big upsets this bracket so far. Bearlike beating Rooster. That's the 51st seed versus the 6th seed.
Yep.
And was it Ali TM versus Zem?
Yeah, Ollie T. Ollie T. Yes.
Oh, Ali T.
I forget the third word. It's Ollie T.
That's the 49th seed beating the 8th seed. So, yeah, pretty big.
Ollie
Big
T.
upsets.
Die. D-Y-E.
T-Die.
T-Die. So that puts us through to the next round.
Do we want to check it?
Yeah, let's take a look at the top of the group. Flower Fairy is first. Dillo, Saracha, Sacco, Woot, Miasim, the favorites. We have a total of, will it be 50? Well, we would have had 57, but Reuben has abandoned. So we have 56. Things will add up to 57 overall. So let us know if you see something that adds up to 57 that you think is a good match.
Sorry, I was...
Yeah, no, I'm looking as well. I'm going to go refill the coffee real quick. Vamo dale, Yatsunehiko. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, I think it's Dorgon versus Coin. 17 versus 34. That's 50, right?
It's 51. Misses by just a couple. All right, we are into round 2. And looking for a good match out there. Coin is facing Agod. Well, I am thinking Tucker against Stupid Vegetables could be interesting. For those that don't remember Tucker was a longtime player who's very, very good and took a long break, back for the launch of the game.
I'm not familiar with this player at all, so I'm very curious to see what they're cooking up.
All right. I think
that was Tucker versus Stupid Vegetables?
Yep. I think that is the one to do.
So, do you remember their playstyle or their preferred thing?
I'm not sure I could say at this point. I remember them being really clever and tricky. Like, not a standard player, always kind of hitting you with different, slightly unexpected angles, and exceptionally good on the econ game. Did really well against, I think had Doxson's number in particular. So
yeah.
Welcome to round 2 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. We have Stupid Vegetables near side and Tucker. The bunny is back on the far side red. Choices of specialists. Loving the new specialist art. You're such a cutie.
So good.
Fortified specialist for Tucker with Fang and Sledge. The bunny. So familiar. And Stupid Vegetables plays with this blonde icon, has been playing with that icon for quite a while. So people may be recognizing them by a different name. They have taken the Crawler and Steel Ball. Tucker is lining up standard and deep. Looks like a old school range war build with the, if you got your ER sledges here and range to the sledges, it has almost full carry. It doesn't have EMP, but does run armor piercing, which most people don't. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a very interesting one to see.
I feel like this is such a traditional, like, aggro into defense board.
Yep.
Fang Sledge versus Crawler Ball. Like it that feels so traditional and so bread and butter. It's going to be cool to see how players kind of deviate off of this.
Right.
We were kind of seeing one and not using vertical sledgehammers. Usually that's kind of the tech to slow down the steel balls a little bit.
Well, as I like to say, these are vertical. Once the steel balls are sucked into this piece, they're going to be coming at you vertically.
Oh, sure. I guess we're conceding the tower at that point, so that's fair.
If you have the right pull. If you have the right pull, you're not. But we do not have the right pull. Yeah, we have conceded the tower, and then it goes very poorly. And we've also taken too long. This other side has come around and gotten horizontal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is getting grim. We are going to get the left side tower, but it's going to be far too late.
Yeah, not meaningful in any capacity, unfortunately.
Yep. Channel point predictions are still open. If anybody wants to put in a little bit of gambit on this one.
A little bit of a reverse tower timing. Not really necessary. Arc lights would have cleaned that up anyways, but little insult to injury there.
Yep.
A little extra XP for the steel balls.
Stupid Vegetables has been playing quite regularly for quite a while. Tucker is, I believe, relatively recently returned to the game with the launch, and may just not have the practice yet. We'll see if they can turn it around. Vegetables takes one more Arclight and a Phoenix, along with the Fire Badgers that they've taken heavy armor for. So, heavy armor Badgers joining this attack. Arclight over here to pull this pack of crawlers. It'll deal with that pack of crawlers, and just ensures that everything else is getting in on tower more quickly and efficiently. Tucker took Berserk Rhino. But that's a choice.
That was my reaction in its entirety. I went, okay. Sure.
Sometimes skip is the better choice here, guys. Trust me.
I mean, if a Fire Badger's on the flank, I guess it's fun. I don't know.
Actually, I can kind of see that as an answer, and he does leave that. He's leaving that 3x3 gap back there for the Rhino on the flank as well.
Yeah, he is. Okay, cool. We see vertical sledges on the right-hand side. So yeah, we're in like a very traditional board state, I would say.
Like the...
but Phoenix is coming out.
Well, we've also added the late Fangs, so you can see that they arrive and chew up some of those steel ball lasers for a while down here before the tower goes down. They would have been a halfway decent answer to the Phoenix as well, if we hadn't, lost the entire board.
Yeah.
Tucker is down to 30-39. And is pretty clustered for a orbital bombardment. Ouch.
Yeah, this is one of the things that you don't want to see when you're playing defense and you're behind in tempo. Orbital bombardment. However, neither player takes it. I think that's a mistake from the aggro player. I think this is pedal to the metal, go, 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 go. It's round 3 and our steel balls haven't leveled. I think we're a little... I think we're in a precarious situation that can switch when Mech Rage is clicked.
Right, and Mech Rage just got clicked.
Yeah.
And other thing I was looking at is Mustangs into this armor enhancement isn't going to be great, right? Because the Mustang, even at level 3, is doing like 90-something damage. Most of that is going to get blocked by the armor as soon as the armor exists.
Yeah. And my favorite answer in this is to go Assault Mode Marksman in conjunction with Mech Rage Sledgehammers, and I saw that Marksman got placed, and I prayed and hoped that I would see Assault Mode. However, there is not, so no double treat here for us.
You got your Assault Mode game last time.
And we can see these steel balls getting gummed up now. Not getting through, more importantly.
We've protected that far side tower on the near side tower. On the far side, the Arclight on the outside took care of the crawler pack there, and it's gotten in on the tower. The only real survivors in the middle are going to be these Phoenix.
Oh, that debuff.
Marksman at the perfectly wrong time. And Tucker has stabilized with the mechanical rage on the sledges. He's going to commit to the sledges. I love it. Let's go.
Oh, and Scorpions for both players is so strong here.
Tucker is
not
taking Scorpions, goes for the Sabers.
Okay.
35,000 hit points. If you can get the Scorpions locked on them, it's going to take forever to kill them.
I mean, there's also a world where Tucker could just click field maintenance on those suckers, and then they're not dying, unless a steel ball gets latched onto them. And,
right.
Steel balls haven't scaled, so...
Uncle Lazy says, we're running electromagnetic hacker. Just for the few who run assault mode marksman, just can't seem viable. Honestly, when have you foretech your hackers?
Also, why multi-hack? It reduces range. Like just win the chaff war. Take the big unit. It's fine.
And other thing I would point out there is that for some of the other things you want to stop, slowing them down is also very helpful. For example, Steel Ball and Rhino. Even if you don't cost them all the hit points, it's still super valuable to be able to drop their movement speed. Those big sabers are doing the business here.
Goodness, but it's just
but the near
a
tower
little too much
down.
on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tucker reinforced to the left, and Stupid Vegetables reinforced both kind of the middle and the right. Simultaneous tower debuffs.
Unfortunately, now with the Scorpions getting the kills on those level 2 Sabertooths, they have leveled, so that advantage is gone. And that
Yeah, I was thinking when he took it, part of the answer could or should have included crawlers behind them to arrive and tank those later shots, right? Like, this pack of crawlers goes out here. There's nobody coming up this center area, and like a crawler right about here that would lock onto this guy and come straight up the middle would have been really valuable. Tucker is taking the 2 level 2 hackers. So Elite recruited them, I think. One outside of the tower and one inside of it. Now, it's important when you're doing that, of course, we just talked about winning the chaff war. But a part of the way that that'll happen is you hack the lead crawler and everything stops to shoot the lead crawler, giving you time to lock onto the next crawler, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and a couple of hackers coming out for Tucker.
Yep.
Okay.
He's now got them close together on that tower that he just lost, so we'll see if that makes a big difference.
Felt like it was crawlers that killed us. I don't know if hackers do a whole lot here. I guess maybe to take the steel balls. Sure. And we get one.
See what I mean? It just slows the whole push down, but this time we're losing the push on the left side. No.
And the right side now. Oh yeah, the center collapsed and then some crawlers got in. The debuff's coming through now.
You would think a bunny would go to town against vegetables, but it is just not happening.
There's scorpions out there. You gotta be careful as a little bunny, you know?
Fair enough. Poison! Run away!
Worms coming out. I love worms here. I think worms are so strong.
We're getting some worms in underneath the garden now. Tucker really giving it some thought.
Tucker's dead.
I'd like to see the Vulcan, but because again, I still think that the chaff war is the problem. Vulcan clears the crawlers, the hackers get to work on whatever the big things are. It just goes together.
Yep, and Vulcan Sabertooth and Vulcan Hacker do great together. Vulcan Marksman too.
Right. Well,
and you called it?
Hello there, kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did pick that up. Tucker took a lot of time thinking about it, though. Still has 1,000 to spend. And Stupid Vegetables is done. Don't run out of time, Tucker. Thinking of doing all the math before he does his actions.
This is what is called being in the tank, and it is not a good spot to be in. Usually means you're overthinking. I feel like...
Oh, we ran out of time with 800 to spend. And that is going to cost us the game. We could have at least had Scorching Flames or range on the hackers to bring those. Makes me wonder if Tucker has not played much since unit drops were a thing. Because I do remember that being one of my problems with unit drops, was I would spend so long on the drop possibilities and then running myself out of time this deep into games. I mean, this isn't even that deep, right? But it took a while to get up to recognizing and thinking through those things quickly enough to not run out of time. Yep, Tucker goes down. The bunny is back, but not yet up to speed. Vegetables beat Bunny, News 11. What looks like a close and entertaining match? Maybe we can jump into Blue Hair and Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer has a surprisingly high number of hit points. I expect Blue Hair's board is coming good.
Test Legend versus Mechabellum Legend.
Right? Blue Hair with the I walk my Vulcan forward, it throws down oil and incendiary, and then walks away and keeps itself back alive. Yep, love it. The answer out there seems to be these big sabers deleting Vulcans. They are a good answer to Vulcan if you can get the Vulcan out in front. I was writing a Reddit post the other day that, you know, my theory of building a comp is you need to answer 4 different units. You need to answer Chaff, whether that's Crawler or Fang. Your comp needs to answer Wasp. Your comp needs to answer Vulcan, and your comp needs to answer Overlord. Those are basically the 4 things that can be. If you answer those 4 units, whatever else somebody's adding, you're going to be able to beat as well. Right? It's not strictly true because you could conceivably lose to the, carry sledge or something, but as a set of units that you've got to be able to counter all 4 of those to have a viable comp.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a very unique approach to it. I find that there is some similarities between a like deck builder or trading card game like Magic the Gathering, for example, when it comes to like Mechabellum. And yeah, when you would make a deck for like Standard, you had to, think of the cards that were meta defining and kind of gatekeeping. And I think Vulcan, Overlord, the other questions you posed are very much that, right? Vulcan, as you can see, it's like an incendiary bomb, oil, sticky bomb every round.
Right.
Like your entire board gets wiped out.
The entire board is on fire. And that is what Blue Hair is using to win the Chaff War. And then Bobby Fischer is using the sabers to beat the Vulcans. Blue Hair's Scorpions would beat Bobby Fischer's Vulcans if there were any. Blue Hair's got Fangs for the Wasps and Wasps of his own to answer the Wasps. Bobby Fischer has Mustangs to answer Wasps. So, as a theory,
I think it's very true. And I don't really see a great way for Bobby Fischer to tackle this sort of playstyle. A lot of people that I've seen, Yeah, a lot of people that I've seen run into this kind of fold to it. I don't really know what to do.
Well, one answer would be flying units, of which Bobby Fischer has none. Flying units don't burn. It would be trouble against the wasps, though. They would just go range AA.
There's also a world, right, where we can eat the left and right barrages by putting down some chaff on the right corners and left corners.
Right. Get those first barrages to fire deeper into Blue Hair's territory. Even the first barrage, right? If we put, triple crawler on the line might be the right answer. But Bobby Fischer has decided to go air. And it'll be 2 Overlords with Overlord Artillery on the far right of the board. I expect that Blue Hair's answer to that is going to be Wasp with range and AA next round. He's got more than enough money to double tech those and put them on the correct side. Even if there is jump drive, he can just build a solid back line of them and be able to hit you wherever you're coming from.
This ion beam might be kind of good.
It was pretty solid. It hits the wasps too. Barely misses the scorpion.
It's gonna come over here and light up this Vulcan and the scorpion in the center. That's like pretty good.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent ion beam. Gotta give credit. And there are no wasps left. They've died all to the Mustangs.
And that poor Sabretooth is trying so hard.
It really was.
Oh?
Got 2 marksmen left, I'm afraid. They're gonna have a good day. And Blue Hair gets it done. Bobby Fischer down to 18-16. And Blue Hair still at 42.94. Just grinding this out. One of the best of all time right here.
And Orbital Bombardment and Lightning Storm coming out, both very good against either player's comps. Very, very large spell, very hard to deal with, and there's wasps and there's overlords, so something you can't play around.
Right.
Bobby Fischer goes to add 2 more overlords on the left. I feel like it's quad overlord on the right and something like mothership. I don't know. I'm kind of taking grasps at this. What would you do if you're in Bobby Fischer's scenario, Amaroq? Let's hear it.
Cry. I think is what I would be doing.
Yeah, concede.
Concede, exactly. You don't want to be this far behind against Blue Hair. You don't want to be giving Blue Hair this much money. Blue Hair is not overcommitting to the wasps yet, which is interesting. I mean, won the last round so hard that instead of going deeper into wasp, just elite recruiting some level 2 marksmen, putting them on the side that he knows he has a problem on. Not worrying about it, but he is keeping this pack of wasps safe. Kind of called correctly where he thought the orbital bombardment was going to be by putting 2 shields and this mobile beacon to keep his kind of key units alive. I like that he was actually identified this pack of fangs as being part of the key unit on this side. They're arrive late, be the late chap. Worth protecting. And yeah, this is this is grim. I think that is GG's. Grim game for Bobby Fischer.
It feels like with Blue Hair, his small advantages early on just start to compound and compound and compound, and then suddenly you're just dead.
Right. That is Blue Hair in a nutshell.
Very hard to deal with.
It is. He's really thought through what the efficient answers to things are, and so has, for example, the efficient answer to Sabretooth for him is this ranged double shot Scorpion out at 155 meter range and doing 45,000 damage a shot, essentially. that's enough to kill a Sabertooth in a single volley, right? Where double shot, it required both of those and the tech off of tower to get up to the point of killing those sabers that quickly. Right, and he's just has all of those things in head. This is the efficient way to do it. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and the saber range war versus the scorpion one is very tricky to navigate. The only way I have any amount of luck in it is aggroing someone out. And in a standard versus standard game, right, the scorpion has 20 more range than the Sabertooth. So,
right, my answer to scorpion is lots and lots and lots of chaff, and that is what I think is kind of missing from Bobby Fischer's deep board as well. Some of those later arriving super deep chaff, and you can see Blue Hair has built this late arriving super deep chaff. In his case, it's fangs instead of the more traditional crawlers, and those arrive even later, right? So that's he's using those units because he doesn't want his own units running out into the fire. So this board was planned from very early in the game, right? There's not a crawler on the board.
No, yeah,
so no wasted deploy. All right, around the room, Flower Fairy gets the win. Saracha, Woot, all getting their W's. We saw Blue Hair win. We saw Stupid Vegetables win. Who beat Photon? What is that name? Oh, Master, of course. Master beats Photon. Steel Sane, Flicks, all with the wins. And in a tournament that's sorted by MMR, these are pretty big MMR gaps. So upsets would be even more surprising than they were in the older format, in the Combat Power format. But you get one right here. Agod beats Coin. Camos beats Shadoff. What's a Woman over Fedez. Lin over Dorgon. Ollie T-Dye beats Neza, so they're 2-0. ICD over Lockjaw. Thalion beats Sentry of the Fruit Bat. Bearlike gets to 2-0. Vic over Rocky Heart. Unrivaled Super Hottie gets to 2-0 against Luckhard. This is the End beat Cute Egg Fried Rice. Queberg over Poncho. Alpha beats 38. Armeria beat Minghua. Cat Emperor beats 91 Verist. Tungdil over Elsu. HD Susauer beat Hicks. We're down into the route of the favorites. Miasim, Enzako, and Dillo all getting their wins pretty solidly. This is not a match of 0-1 players. I mean, it is. It's the two highly ranked players who got upset coming up against each other. B-Man and Rooster were the 8th and 6th seeds respectively. And one of them had to lose a second match. So B-Man is 1-1, Rooster's now 0-2. That's a frustrating start for Rooster, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can hear him in my head. Oh, my days.
Yes. Runner-up in this tournament last week, not this week. All right. Well, thoughts on what we've seen so far?
Yeah, some atypical answers in play. But also some like very meta-defining stuff. Bear-like kind of hitting us with these like fringe assault mode marksman plays, and and an odd take up with Berserk Rhino. Maybe that was a misclick, but if I remember correctly, that was on the left-hand side. So I would love to hear what Tucker has to say about that personally. I think it would be an interesting little tidbit. What about you, though? Like, how do you feel about what you've seen so far?
Well, I think my general feeling is Blue Hair very strong, very scary. And
yeah,
I liked the way that Bear-like ran the assault mode marksman. I haven't devoted enough time to that comp to be strong at it. I tried adding it for the Triple Threat Tricksters tournament, because that's supposed to encourage aggro play and all of that, and I thought it might be useful in defense, actually. And every time I've clicked it in that, I have gone on to lose. Just don't have the experience and skill in it, so I wound up taking it back off my board. So it's neat to see Bear-like run it to success. And we saw how close it came to losing, right? So...
Yeah.
Sab has an observation, says hackers are 0-2 now. Yep, fair enough. Hackers have gone 0-2 in this tournament that we've seen. I'm not sure a last round drop of hackers and only 2 hackers in the middle constitutes a fault of the hacker unit, though. It's really people didn't commit to it. If you're gonna do hackers, you gotta commit to it.
Yeah, I didn't want to be that guy, but you know, actually, yeah, no, I think in the first scenario, right, where hackers failed, they just weren't committed to early enough. And in the second one, the commitment didn't really make sense given the board state, I felt like.
Yeah,
it did slow down the push, but yeah.
You'd called out that the crawlers were the problem, not the larger units, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to go into the next round, but I'm going to step away for these 2 minutes, if that's all right. And
please do.
You're back.
All right, we've got 28 unbeaten left, but Thalion has abandoned, so it'll be 27 with Professor Shadoff in the spoiler role. If you are new to this game, the spoiler role is when there's an odd number of players. The top unbeaten player will face the top player with 1 loss. And of course, the rules are pretty simple. There's multiple rounds are played. Rounds continue until there's only 1 player who has 0 losses. Every round awards 1 point to the winner, no points to the loser, and pits the players with the smaller gap in points against each other. The minor points, which are not explained on that rules page, minor points are the sum total of the points of the opponents you've faced. So if we clicked on Till, we would find that Till was also 1-1, and therefore was giving 1 point to Professor Shadoff. And then Kamos, since Shadoff won round 1, we know Kamos won round 1, so Kamos get a second point for beating Professor Shadoff. So Kamos has 2 minor points, and you can see or 2 points, and with 1 point from Till and 2 points from Kamos, Professor Shadoff has 3 minor points. Of course, all of the players at the top of the group have either 1 or 2 minor points, since they have beaten their players. The folks with 2 minor points are the ones whose first round opponent turned around and won the second round. So you can see B-Man did turn around and win. We saw that B-Man beat Rooster. So 1 point from Lockjaw, who was 1-1, 1 point from B-Man, who's now 1-1. Is this going to be Blue Hair against Stupid Vegetables? HD Susauer against Steel Sane? There are some good matches already. Unrivaled Super Hottie, I think, is going to be up against Vic. But I kind of want to just follow the 2 we've seen here. Blue Hair did not beat Teddy. Blue Hair beat Salt, which I do believe is a salt monkey. Yeah, I could definitely be tempted by Vic and Super Hottie, but I think we'll take Stupid Vegetables and Blue Hair. Keep following these 2. The top seed Flower Fairy is the one that beat Teddy in round 1. That was the #1 MMR player in the world for a time.
What is this? This is blue hair versus stupid vegetables.
Yes.
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This should be fantastic.
Do you think those 201 players know something we don't about how to beat blue hair?
No. No, I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
They probably come up against them fairly often, but blue hair in the qualifying window for this launch clash tournament, you only needed to win 2 tournaments to get in. Two players won 3 of them. Those are Apucci and blue hair. So
Okay.
excellent and really good in the tournament format. Doesn't get that there's that bit of people will call it choking under pressure, or anxiety, or whatever it is, that nervousness, stress that causes people to underperform under pressure. And you can see how cool Apucci is if you watch his streams, and blue hair is exactly the same way. 0 choke under pressure. Welcome to round 3 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73, the first tournament of Season 1. Near side, we have Stupid Vegetables, who we saw earlier, facing Blue Hair, who we also saw earlier. I was just talking Blue Hair up to Clint as having won 3 tournaments in the last 10 weeks or so. Only one other person has won 3 tournaments in that same time span. So one of the favorites in tournament play. Blue Hair on the far side, a giant specialist with crawler and steel ball, and starts with the steel balls on the back line instead of coming out aggro. So steel ball from standard. And Stupid Vegetables, a supply specialist with tarantula and crawler, puts the tarantulas as deep back as they possibly can as well. So tarantulas from standard. We're going to see a standard v standard range war, it would appear. Now, Blue Hair will transition from this back deployment to a front deployment. I've seen them do that with, for example, getting the right drops to go into a Fang Fire Badger Phoenix on the front line, and just completely transitioned out of a back line deployment like this. So they're very, very flexible.
Yeah, that goes doubly so because he's giant specialist, right? Like next round, we could actually see a sellout of one of these steel balls, a Vulcan, and then up a layer of chaff, and that's like a completely valid turn for round 2.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to use the steel balls to fund the giants. Done. And, oh, by the way, the steel balls are great against the tarantulas when supported by my 2 arc lights, so I'm not even going to concede round 1. Blue Hair, economically efficient. You just got to admire it. This guy is so good.
He has a very tight play style. I completely agree. And we see, both players picking, I think, a very late game oriented specialist, right? And giant spec being able to get all the giants out faster than your opponent, and supply spec being, the most raw, well, maybe not the most raw, but the most linear currency gain.
It's the largest economic advantage over the course of the game, unless giant specialist is throwing down 3 different giants. Both players took the laser sight. I think they're both cognizant of the fact that this could turn into a range war. I want to make sure they win the range war, but also, potentially, if Blue Hair, if the answer to whatever Blue Hair throws down as giant specialist is melting point, melter versus melter, you're going to have that laser sight available. Stupid Vegetables adding a pair of sledges, so was able to afford the laser sight and unlock and 200 cost units. So already ahead on the econ bid. For Blue hair, it was unlock and deploy one Phoenix with laser sights, as long as the fangs go down on both sides. Blue hair wins by air.
And it looks like they will. Maybe not on the right side, but certainly on the left.
Yeah, there's still 5 left on the right side, but I don't know that there's going to be enough to handle this. Would really depend on ranges and when they engage. Have one steel ball go do the mission. Good work. Slows everything down, but we're stuck on the chaff. Shoot the thing that can shoot you, Phoenix. Good work. So this is the sort of thing Blue Hair does as well. It's not about winning this round. It was about not losing this round and losing a whole bunch of hit points, right? It doesn't really care about doing the 200 or 300, but made sure that no matter what happened, they didn't lose this round hard. And, concede 500 or 700 or 1,000 hit points. Stupid Vegetables takes the Mustangs. We know they like their level 3 Mustangs. They took the Elite Mustang against Tucker. And correctly identifies Blue Hair taking the Wasps, although was that a Wasp and insta-sell for the monies?
It was.
To fund a Vulcan. Vulcan up front. We saw this last time with the little, this to eat the initial volleys, and presumably we're going to get the same sticky oil and incendiary. Light the ground on fire. It even goes to the side that the level 3 Mustangs are on. That's so painful.
Oh no. And that Vulcan beasts.
Yeah, they had a day. Well, I mean, if you've got steel balls, this is the thing you need. Kill anything that is chaffs, and steel balls can work on the real units. I swear
it
to
feels
you
like
guys,
Stupid Vegetables might be at a point where he's too far behind.
I swear to you
Like,
guys,
he might
I
just-
think this was the best matchup. I promise. It's supposed to be close. But yeah, I agree with you. It feels like it is getting away from Stupid Vegetables right now. Note that a lot of players who play Vulcan would have taken the absorption module for the healing. Right? This Vulcan was your gold damage dealer. Blue Hair does the math, takes the mobile beacon to be able to, did the math to figure out what he could afford in terms of what he wants to buy. So that's going to be Incendiary Bomb, a Phoenix, and he's got enough for one more Giant, if that's what he wants. He's got an unlock available, or it could be another Vulcan. Or 2 Sentry Missiles and a Vulcan. Got it. There we go.
Yeah, and I suspect we'll see Blue Hair start to round out his board with fangs.
Right, those back fangs are
Here in the
pretty
next,
important to how this build is supposed to work. It's late arriving chaff. Be here and here. And then back line. So this is what I was saying Tucker should have done. Put a crawler right on the line. Actually, you said it as well, right? To put a crawler right on the line to draw that first volley so that it keeps the Mustangs alive to do their work. With the Mustangs alive, the steel balls are in a lot more trouble. But with the mobile beacon, the Vulcan survives long enough to get a second set off.
I am shocked it's this close, honestly.
Right. This is, I mean, you can see what a big difference the flames are making. And nice little blazed skin on that Phoenix is not going to save it from these fangs. Stupid Vegetables wins the round, puts Blue Hair on 4404, and Stupid Vegetables is at 2200. Interesting that they're both taking this long on this one. What do you think they're debating between?
I was gonna say maybe efficient light. 50 cost fangs is pretty nice if you're gonna be spamming those out.
Right. They both took it. And it is, as a giant specialist, I tend to think of it as not what I want to do efficient light. But I think you're right. Blue Hair's already got 2 of the 3 giants that he's going to put down. I'm expecting Vulcan on the other side, and then we get the oil as well. There, you were spot on in your call. 50 cost fangs. Boom, boom.
We can also see Stupid Vegetables kind of on what I was talking about earlier with those fangs on the flank next to that Vulcan over there.
Right, to draw.
What that'll end up doing is... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's your thought.
No. So what that might end up doing is I might even pull some of these crawlers all the way over and through this fire. Not quite, but close enough. But that's kind of one of those tactics that you can do to delay some of these Incend Bomb spells.
Right. It isn't just about delaying that first one, it's that it's put the second one a lot closer to Blue Hair because those units were still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it changes the whole positioning of it. And Stupid Vegetables also has this Scorpion going with Absorption Module, which survived the took care of the 2 Vulcans. We just didn't have enough left to handle the Phoenix at the end of the round. Blue Hair down to 1586. I'm sorry, Blue Hair puts Stupid Vegetables down to 1586. It's early, guys. I'm sorry. Stupid Vegetables takes the Melter. There's your second answer to the Vulcans. I don't think the Vulcans are actually the problem anymore. But okay, let's see how that goes.
This for me kind of comes. Sorry, it's also early for me. This for me
more coffee
kind of
for all
problem
casters.
with taking something like efficient light manufacturing, right? The card costs 350. It's 300 plus the skip value, which is always 50 credits.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to somehow make that up. And multiple deploys in only a few turns, right? These 1586 is the danger zone.
Right.
Especially when there's 3 giants on the field. It's not a lot of HP.
Right. Yeah. Three giants surviving will do 1050 to you. So you can kind of think of 3 giants as 1,000 hit points, and then look at the rest of the board. There's another 800, so if the giants in the back line survive, that's 1,800. If it's, 1 giant, the storms, and the Phoenix that survive, that's also pretty scary. That's 1,550.
The massacre.
Storms are a perfect answer to this to the Melter as well. There wasn't range on Blue Hair's Phoenix, so all the Phoenix are down for Blue Hair, and so is all the anti-air. Stupid Vegetables will survive. And again, we talked about preventing hit point damage on Blue Hair's round 2. This was entirely preventing hit point damage. It's a little bit less about doing 500 to Blue Hair, 600 to Blue Hair, as it is preventing the knockout. Smoke.
Definitely. It's one of those rounds that you can cheese out. Yeah.
Yep. Smoke an instant pickup for Stupid Vegetables. Can't imagine Blue Hair does not shield around it, but, you know, we'll see. Also leveled all of those Phoenix. They're all level 2 now. Blue Hair has finally sold out of both packs of Steel Balls. I just heard that last sell was this pack. I presume that's going to be 4 shields across. Is it only going to be 3? It's only 3? Okay. Just wants the Vulcans fighting from within the shields.
I am honestly shocked that this pack of level 4 Mustangs with laser sights is still on the field.
They are the gold
I feel like it
damage
should be on a
dealer.
Phoenix.
They're the gold damage dealer.
Really? Oh. Oh.
Vegetables is going to the air game entirely here with a pair of now ranged wasps on the back line. Makes sense. They can't get affected by the smoke. They can't be burned alive by the Vulcans. Sold the melter. There is a flank Vulcan Phoenix from Blue Hair. Yikes.
Quick teleport.
Yeah, it's a quick teleport this round. Oh my goodness. If it weren't for the wasps,
It's disgusting.
this would have been an amazing play. The wasps cover it, but that means that those wasps and Phoenix aren't fighting in the front. And with even without range on the Phoenix, and there's a Phoenix alive over here. Nope, they're gonna go down. So
Oh wow.
Tucker wins it again on air power alone.
I mean, it's kind of smart if you think about it. Wasps, as long as they don't get stuck on the big thing, will kill things really efficiently. So.
And more range for Stupid Vegetables, trying to stay out of the danger zone. Drops oil so that this first volley will light some of Blue Hair's back line on fire, unless there's a shield there. Blue Hair took the free missile, is going to drop it on the air units here that are engaged. Sells out of the kind of countered Vulcan, I think. Committing to the air game, we've got a Wraith in front of the Phoenix and Wasp to try and eat tank shots, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
And here is why. It's the answer to the Phoenix and the Wasp for a giant specialist was going to be throw down forts with AA barrage. And now you've got the Wraiths to tank that. This canonical would be field maintenance to try and heal through it. But Stupid Vegetables is not clicking the button. Still has 300 to spend, so either thinking about it or winds up taking hit points and field maintenance. There you go. So right at the ticking clock. There's a little pack of oil that has not yet gotten ignited. Love it. See how long
But those...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say, but those rates go down because of these high-level phoenixes,
Right.
and we're talking about being in the danger zone. This may not be enough, but
Really close.
close.
Drops stupid vegetables to 336. Key tech, I think, for blue hair is not so much the AA on the giants as it is the range on our phoenix. As the phoenix dying was what was costing them previous rounds. Smart enough to skip the efficient giant manufacturing. It's late enough in the game that you'd have to manufacture 3 this round just to break even. It'd have to be go into round 10 or 11 for you to come out ahead, building nothing but giants, right? Triple recruit wasps
Yeah,
and a shield on the wasps for stupid vegetables.
Do we see ground spec by chance? No, we will not see ground spec.
Shield on the phoenix instead. Trying to get them a couple of extra shots. I always feel like that one's an odd to have running. In my opinion, it's really only useful against spells, because if my phoenix are getting targeted, I've lost the chaff war and range war. But perhaps stupid vegetables is thinking, if it comes down to it, I want my phoenix alive for 1 extra shot.
Yeah, I mean, it does help. It also kind of does okay into the Fortress Volleys. I don't know. I run Energy Shield on my bar, but not in conjunction with Charge Shot. I'm running with like Elite Marks. I just want my guys to be chilling as far back as possible.
Right. Yeah, this board, or this bar feels odd to me because the combo of Charged Shot and Energy Shield kind of implies the rat style, Surrey style jump drive. Phoenix to me, where I've seen that used the most efficiently. On the other hand, maybe Stupid Vegetables is looking at it as 4 utility techs. I'm not ever going to 4-tech my Phoenix, so I'm not planning to.
Man, it's almost enough. It's so almost close. Enough for Stupid Vegetable.
But not quite. And Blue Hair has closed it out in 9 rounds. So I told you this was going to be a good match. A lot closer than it could have been. But Stupid Vegetables holding on for most of that match. It definitely felt like Blue Hair had the advantage from round 3 onward. I mean, even round 1 and 2 that went Blue Hair's direction, right? So
yeah.
Stupid Vegetables was never able to put them under pressure. One thing I think is interesting that we should mention, note that Blue Hair's Stormcallers do not run flames. No fire. Gave up on it, put high explosive ammo on the bar. Other than that, is running the standard Stormcaller techs. This is where people used to have fire, right? And the change to the meta for 1.0 was to cost 20 meters, cause the incendiary bomb or incendiary ammunition on Stormcaller to cost 20 meters of range. Blue Hair does not want to give up the range war and switched to high explosive. Presumably, might even have switched what techs he runs on the Vulcans. Other thing that's interesting is that Blue Hair does not run Scorching Flames on their Vulcan. So their Vulcans are doing the work through Sticky Oil and Incendiary rather than through dealing damage directly themselves. Clear the chaff. That's my job.
Do you think Blue Hair is making a statement with that by taking off fire from his Stormcallers, but then putting double fire basically on the Vulcans?
I don't know if it's a statement so much as it is following the most efficient path, right? That's the way I think that Blue Hair approaches the game, is thinking about the most efficient answer to problems. And for him, the efficient answer to chaff has been putting fire on the ground. The efficient answer to putting fire on the ground is now these 2 techs on Vulcans. If I'm going to take those 2 techs on Vulcans, there's no point in running Scorch. So, because by that point I'm not buying range and scorch. I'm not going to have 4 Tech Falcons ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the answer there, is just I'm going to win the range war, or I'm not going to lose the range war, is probably more accurate. And then I'm going to... Go ahead.
Oh, the main reason I ask is that there is some grumblings amongst the community about fire being a little overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1.0, we did see both major fire sources get nerfed pretty heavily. Stormcallers got a 20 range reduction,
right,
by clicking Incendiary Bomb, and Napalm on Fire Badgers is a minus 40% HP debuff.
And so here he is running the 2 fire techs that didn't get nerfed.
Yeah.
I would love to see something like these cause your Vulcan to blow up the way that that a boom rhino blows up.
Oh, interesting.
You go ahead. You're just running a high risk, high reward play. When it goes down hard. It could blow up your own side, could blow up the other side. All right, we are through round 3. We've got our set of winners. The top seed, of course, is Flower Fairy of Pinglai, and number 1 MMR player in the tournament, number 1 seed coming into this, beats Professor Shadoff in the spoiler role. That was probably not a particularly close match. Master beat Kamos. Cat Emperor beat Ali T-Die. Vic wins over Super Hottie. Dillo over What's a Woman. Woot over Alpha. HD Susauer beats Steel Sane. Nicely done, Susauer. Steel Sane is always a really tough opponent. Blue Hair beat Stupid Vegetables. Miasim over Armiria. Sacco beats Hoiberg. Icy D, who had come through pretty well in the early rounds, had some good victories there, loses to This Is the End. Lynn upsets Flix, nicely done. Tungdil beats Bearlike, and Saracha over Agod. So we're starting to get to the sharp end of the tournament. We'll have 14 unbeatens, and very few of them are not worthy of being here. Yeah, ICD had beaten B-Man to get into this, to get this far at all. Hey, thank you, Ally Raz. Appreciate the follow. How are you doing this morning? But are we gonna get a Sacco Woot round 4?
I was gonna say, I think it's Sacco Woot.
I mean, good goodness.
But also Dillo versus Tungdil.
Ooh. Yeah, there are, and I mean, Saracha versus Miasim would be a good match as well.
Yeah.
Nothing but excellent players at this point of the tournament. Rip HD Susauer, your reward for beating Steel Sane is facing Blue Hair.
The frying pan into the fire?
Right. And note that Flower Fairy is now in the 4 seed slot instead of the 1 seed slot due to the way that minor points work. There it is. Round 4. Sacco versus Woot. We also had a off-stream follow from AKA Pookie. Much appreciated. I always wonder how people find me to follow when we're not streaming. Presumably they found a YouTube or something.
I was gonna say that time to shout out your
yeah,
YouTube.
Right? I do package these up to put them on the YouTube channel. This week has been rough because of the planning for that Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament tomorrow, so I did not get through everything I meant to do. I also streamed more than I meant to because of the launch, so launch proper meant that there were more stream hours than BizDev hours, if you will. Welcome to round 4 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. 2 former winners in Sacco and Woot. Famous streamers, each of them. Sacco near side and blue, Woot far side. We know what Woot loves to run. Woot will run those overlords with jump drive and ground cannon. Try to hit you from all directions. Is going to be doing it as the aerial specialist with Fang and Steel Ball. How is Sacco going to answer it? Takes the supply specialist with Crawler and Sledge. It's not like Sacco doesn't know what's coming when he sees Woot as an aerial specialist, so we'll see how he prepares for it. Both players have won one tournament in the last 10 weeks or so, but have won previously to that. Woot came ever so close to qualifying for the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament last week, lost the Finals of America, the Weekend Tournament America number 72, to Rice. Rice had a really interesting answer to Woot's build, which was a Assault Mode Marksman in defense, which I thought was fascinating. It literally changed his techs for that match, because he knew he was up against Woot. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to run as my Woot defense. It's Assault Mode Marksman with aerial specialization.
Yeah, it's always a precarious matchup between Overlords and Assault Mode Marksman. While you have things like range and aerial specialization on those Assault Mode, 3 techs deep at that point, and you're against ground cannon. Ground cannon's very, very good into Assault Mode Marksman. So,
yeah, that was what I thought was interesting. Is he had a very good chaff build to keep the ground cannon off of the Assault Mode Marksman as well. And it was precarious. It was a really good match.
So yeah, looks like this is going to go Sacco favored, and that makes sense. Sledgehammers are just slightly better clear than Fangs, and you see that made up in like final bit here. A little too many crawlers for Woot to clear properly, but Woot will round this out probably this round.
Right.
I'd expect to see a Wasp flank here, especially with something like redeployment. Also important to note that both players are headbutting, and in this scenario, it is so stressful. An advanced missile device being picked up, I think that's an interesting way to kind of shake up this headbutt scenario. By making your missiles stronger, you create an asymmetric balance, and the other player has to respect it. But I think the king of all headbutt units has now hit the field in the Wraith. Woot being able to go for that, and a deployment still because of the uniqueness of aerial specialization, or aerial spec.
Right.
Looks like Sacco's still thinking about it.
Yeah.
He goes for a skip.
I'm sure he was tempted by the redeploy, and very, very tempted by it, but couldn't afford to do what he wanted to do without the skip. So what he wanted to do was a Phoenix, which will answer both the Wraith and the Steel Balls, as well as 2 more Chaff deploy. And I talked about the Chaff build that Rice had. This is kind of similar in terms of there will always be a crawler arriving at any given moment.
Well, level 2 crawlers. Very scary. And yeah, pretty much what you said is correct. There's right as we clear a pack of crawlers, another wave of crawlers hits.
Understanding chaff timing and how to build a chaff board, I think, is one of the things that is pretty much required to get from, you know, the players who are struggling at the 1300 to 1600 range into the, you know, up to the 2000 range. I think it is such a crucial skill. And yeah, Sacco made that work perfectly. Had 3 crawlers left on the left side tower, and 2 tanks and 2 Phoenix.
It is the age-old adage true, Amaroq. You see Badger, you take Badger.
It is for Sacco. And I mean, I would love it for Woot, but because there are so many crawlers coming, right, and he's not going to rely on crawlers. He doesn't mind setting the he's not going to mind setting the ground on fire if he's aerial specialist and going into air units.
I can see a world where he also goes worm. No, because he goes Badger.
Yeah. So Sacco is going to put the crawlers on the flank to ensure that there's no insta-lock from the steel balls, and puts the fire badgers just a little bit off the thing. Now remember, Woot took advanced missile device, so his missiles are going to do 15,000 damage if they hit, and a level 3 fire badger has 15,550. So it is possible for him to missile this clump and all but take out that fire badger. So I expect we'll be seeing a missile there almost religiously the rest of the game, until that fire badger gets sold. Would also be a really useful way to take out the Wraith. For Woot, it was 2 fire badgers, 1 on the flank, 1 on the outside of this push, and the level 3s right in the middle. With the chaff down, Sacco's positioning with these Phoenix gets almost instant locks on the Wraith and the fire badgers. So they're all going to go down. All the chaff clear is dead for Woot. And Sacco winning pretty handily. Win the chaff war, win the war.
Yeah, I think what we are seeing right now is that Sacco's army is just better positioned for single target DPS and the Phoenixes, and I think that's the real difference maker here.
I'm still going to go with it's the chaff deployment and timing. He's just got things arriving all day long. It's really well done. He adds a fort, and here we go. Woot has sold. It's sold out of the Wraith into the double Overlord.
And this is a really precarious position for the fortress player in my mind.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, 3 volleys from a fortress with AA will one-shot a level 1 Overlord. That math changes drastically if that Overlord ever levels and if tower upgrades are taken. So, you know, it's a real arms race, and Woot's already ahead in that arms race.
I actually wonder if this is to be able to throw down the shield over the level 3.
I see bubble. Yeah.
Yeah, if he was placing the, or you know, playing that game in his head of where are those missiles going to go? And without the ground cannon yet, those overlords take a long time to get through the fort. And Sacco wins again. Last round he had taken the lead. He started with only 3,700 hit points. So last round he took the lead. This round he drops Woot to 3048. But we're still not close to knockout for either player. This is one of the important things, though, about playing against Woot. You can't afford to have a slow start. You can't afford to let yourself get down to 1,000 hit points or even 2,000 hit points, because Woot's Overlord build is designed to win one round and do 2,000, 3,000 hit points of damage in surviving giants. So, here is anti-air barrage and 2 more forts. But as you said, one of those overlords is already leveled. Now, question for you. If you're Sacco, don't you want levels on your Phoenix? We skipped levels on Phoenix to take 2 more, to take the 2 fortresses.
Yeah, it depends on your answer and how you want to deal with the overlords. I think with the AA, your goal is maybe range in your fight on the Phoenixes, but I mean, like, you could also just answer the boats with charge shot ranged Phoenix, and that would do very, very well.
It does run ranged and charge shot.
But we're kind of seeing what you're talking about earlier, right? In this, like, perfect amount of chat at all points. But the boats are beginning to muscle through.
Right.
Oh, and these crawlers. It's so annoying having boats shoot crawlers.
Yep.
So they do not clear them efficiently.
So nicely done from Sacco. Wins that round, drops Woot another 900 hit points. 2148 remaining. Lightning Storm for Woot. Let me get rid of all of these annoying chaff units of yours, sir.
Yeah, I imagine both players windmill slam Lightning Storm here. I don't think you can ignore it without with boats on the field too.
I love how much time Sacco takes thinking about things. Doesn't take the Storm. Took the Mustang production line. Are we going to see Shield Bubble then? Drop? Nope, it's 2 more forts. And a regular bubble. Can't protect the Phoenix, but it protects everything else. Go ahead.
The viewers at home might be wondering why we're not upgrading these fortresses. And the main reason why is that anti-air barrage does not scale as a flat damage tech from level 1 and onwards. However, right, the reason why this math gets so tricky is that Overlord Artillery, or Chin Gun as we like to call it, does scale with levels. So the math basically favors these Overlords, and they will scale eventually to the moon.
Now, the one thing you can do as the fort player to adjust things is taking the attack enhancement, which does affect the missiles, or placing a item on the fort, which also affects the strength of the missiles. This round, predictably, goes poorly for the player who got stormed, and those missiles are just not enough to take care of all the overlords. So Woot wins the round, and as we said earlier, when Woot wins a round, it's a big win. So he takes 1,700 hit points off of Sacco, drops him to 2058.
And if Lightning Storm wasn't bad, Mobilized Battleship is even worse. The big thing here for Woot is when he takes it, it also gains the upgrades of his overlords on the field. So this is not just a normal overlord. This is an overlord with Chin Gun on it. And that will kill a level 2 tower very fast.
And Sacco is just 100% committed to, I'm going to throw down forts and do enough anti-air barrages here to try and win this.
The math does not look good here.
Woot is using these wasps as distractions, Just gonna eat
Yeah.
the early barrages to prevent the hit point damage.
But a tricky little mobile beacon play in conjunction with the mobilized battleship, really trying to pinch this level 2 tower on the left.
And I do think with the mobilized battleship that it should be enough to just outright win this for Woot this round.
Yep, and we're on the tower now. And it goes down.
And as soon as it goes down,
Really good tower timing.
everything is doing less damage for Sacco, everything's doing more damage for Woot. One big Overlord goes down. We're going to take down the other one with the Phoenix here.
But we might be getting on this other tower here. Oh, immediately popped.
5 surviving giants would have done 2,000 damage on the previous build. Only does, what, 1750, right? 350
Oh,
times
yes,
5?
yeah.
1750. So drops Sacco to 579. Woot is still on 20, oh goodness, 2,148, and here comes the nuke. And when Woot sees a board that includes an orbital javelin and a nuke, he's usually going to take jump drive on his boats and put them in somewhere that you're not necessarily going to predict. So here it's going to be far corner, it looks like, and flank. So just let me be in places that are alright. I'll be entirely on that flank.
This is free for all now suddenly.
Yes, right. But Sacco takes the barriers. As long as he's got barrier up, the nuke is only going to hit the barriers. Won't hit any of the units underneath them, so the only things at risk at the moment are the Phoenix. And did we just mobile beacon a Phoenix out of that nuke? Nicely done, Sacco. In fact, mobile beacons them over to the defensive side.
Oh my goodness, that poor fortress.
Yeah, over there, yes. Just insta-deleted. And the nuke, as predicted, takes down shield bubbles, but not forts at the moment. You can see it hasn't even taken these 2 bubbles down. They're just damaged, not destroyed.
Oh, this could be a bad tower timing, but man, there's just so many missiles from each side.
Yeah.
That's it.
That is it. GG's. Woot gets it done against one of the greats. Beats Sacco. Well played. Two awesome players. Sacco, of course, is already in that Mechabellum launch clash as a invited caster. Not invited caster, as an invited curator. He's casting the tournament tomorrow. Woot is in the qualifying tournament tomorrow by virtue of not quite having gotten the double tournament wins he needed to qualify. And you will see, I'm sure, plenty of this boat play from Woot in that tournament tomorrow. Woot's in Group D. That'll be the last of the 4 groups. I know he is unhappy about that. Everybody wanted to be in the first group to be done on the early part of that tournament. Nobody wanted to be the late game. Blue Hair is finishing things out against HD Susauer. We'll jump into that game. Wait, I think I've seen this build before. Except this time he's added melting points.
Whoa, and ranged EMP wasps?
Ooh. That's not a combo you see often.
That's spicy.
Did he change the board? I think he changed the bar. Didn't he have shield on them the last time we were looking at him?
I honestly don't remember. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's early. It's a...
No, the person playing against Blue Hair had
okay.
shield.
Okay, got it. Cool. Thank you for...
Right, because they did the shield wasp and the shield phoenix, and we were like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Right, I remember, yeah. Julio. Also,
I
good
think those
morning,
stupid
Toast.
vegetables.
Good morning, Toast. How are you? Toast, for those of you who don't know, is one of the channel's biggest supporters. Deeply, deeply appreciated. Well, aside from the awake at 4 whatever to cast, that part's a little bit rough on a night owl. Not gonna lie, but I actually got to sleep pretty early last night and doing well with it. Blue Hair also doing well, has HD Susauer down to 1320. And here is the economic advantages. We talked a little bit about that with Blue Hair's earlier matches that we were casting. Sorry, the language gets tough sometimes. Both players took enhancement module. So free level ups if that's what you're going for. HD Susauer, this is an interesting one, running range and energy absorption. So trying to get the energy absorb lock on Blue Hair's melters, which seem to have the advantage at the moment, since they have range and levels. Blue Hair's cost control. Oh my goodness, we are going into Battle of Britain style. Let's go.
I'm gonna be honest. I can't really make heads or tails of this board state. This is pretty complex. It's it looks like Blue Hair is not relying so much on Fangs as his chaff this round or this go around, as much as he's relying on Wasps, as opposed to like a more like 2 Phoenix play. It's more Melter play. There is still 1 Phoenix though. The difference maker of the last round was honestly 1 Melter versus another Melter, and one of those Melters had laser sights. So
I like the way that HD Susauer is thinking about this board state, though. It's the, I'm going to join you in the air war, and my wasps are going to be the chaff because they can't die to this, the fire on the ground. And then has EMP off of the Stormcallers to try and shut down the melting point answers. Blue Hair is winning this round by virtue of having spent 800 on picking up anti-missile devices to shut down the EMP from the Stormcaller. And doesn't win it by much, right? This is a tight round. 800 hit points of damage.
the real difference maker feels like those wasps. Those wasps with the EMP turning off certain melters was super crucial.
I think Blue Hair was expecting the EMP on the Wasps to do a little bit more than it does. It feels like I mean, there's not much Wasp left at the end of the round, right?
Yeah, but you only need one, right? It's like old charge shot on Mustangs.
Right.
There's always that one Mustang turning off your giant that, your giant refused to shoot, so...
Right. For those that don't know, charged shot and
Oh, yeah.
parasitic ammo are two of the things that we saw previewed in the early access and then got turned off because they just were not well game balanced. Well, I mean, I think they were fun for the person who played them, but they were not fun to play against. In particular, so parasitic was a item that you could place on a unit, and it caused anything that unit killed to turn into crawlers, just the way that Replicate Crawler did. So, obviously you put that on something like a Vulcan, and it just sits there and lights the ground on fire. Toast points out, yes, you can still mess around with them in the testing range. It's true. If you want the old school experience, you can do it there. They are not completely removed from the game, they're just removed from the possible drops. And Charged Shot is an item that turned off tech. So it's like gave whatever unit you wanted to have EMP shot on it. Your EMP Vulcan or your EMP Mustangs were kind of the two. EMP Mustangs in particular was just ridiculous.
You know what the real difference maker here is? The Vulcans run in front of the Wasp for Blue Hair side, and that means that Sue Sour's Wasps, even though they have a range in AA, are shooting the Vulcan and not the Wasps. That's honestly the only difference maker.
And that lets some of these Wasps survive, deal EMP to the melting points. That turns off the energy absorption and the range, and just made that last fight unfair. Because it's fully teched EMP barrage melters with range against untechted melting points that are not able to save themselves. Nicely done, Blue Hair. Through to round 5. That does give us, we are all through to round 5. So top of the table, I believe that is Master beats Lynn in the top slot. What is the next one down was Cat Emperor beat Vic. Tungdill wins over Dillo. Woot beats Sacco. I was laughing because I'm running Google Lens to translate everything, and it said it translates N Sacco as N Sac. Wait a minute. Saracha didn't ready up against Miasim. Lets Miasim through to the next round. In the next match... Oh, come on now. Please translate those. This is the end. Loses to Flower Fairy of Penglai. We saw Blue Hair beat HD Susauer. And that is our top division. At the bottom end, we're starting to see players knocked out. You are allowed to continue participating in a tournament as long as you have fewer than 3 losses. Once you have 3 losses, you'll see folks down at the bottom being eliminated. So, there you go. So, Dorgon, Lord Helmchin, Ava Stigma have all taken 3 losses. Now, this is a much stronger tournament than it previously, because we're not sorting by combat power anymore, we're sorting by MMR. So, players who might have been in the... I play infrequently, but I'm very strong, who would have been in the rookie group, are now kind of automatically up in the top group. Also, your Smurf accounts tend to gravitate towards the player's real MMR, not their but not their combat power. So, we'll go to round 5. We've got voice issues. We'll go to round 5. We have 7 unbeatens left. HD Susauer is going to be in the spoiler role. Blue Hair against Woot. Miasim against Flower Fairy. What do you think here? I think Blue Hair against... I think Blue Hair and Woot, it kind of continues telling the story we've been following, right? We've followed them all the way through here.
I'm down for that. I think it also introduces a very kind of unique board state for us.
Right.
Because we haven't really seen the Vulcan Melter or Vulcan Phoenix thing that Blue Hair is doing get beaten, and Woot's Overlord spam strategy is very hard to beat.
Right.
Maybe we'll get to see them clash.
Yeah. Definitely looking forward to seeing them clash.
Any soft predictions for this one?
I think I rate Blue Hair a little bit above Woot, and I'm not saying that necessarily on technical skill so much as and I mean there is a technical skill element to this thought, but it's a little bit more of the calm under pressure and tournament, like what we talked about earlier, not having that sense of pressure or stress under time, like knowing that you're up against somebody. Like Blue Hair is not going to be nervous about facing Woot. Woot might have some nerves about facing Blue Hair. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. He also, I feel like if you've ever watched Woot, it's a little tilted.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. He can get tilted in the same way that Sacco does, right? And
but I think he lives in the tilt.
You think so?
I think Woot kind of embraces it. I think he loves it. So he might do okay here still.
All right. Welcome to round 5. This is the quarterfinals of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. Near side in blue, appropriately enough, is Blue Hair. Far side in red, and playing the Fire Badger is Woot. Blue Hair is a cost control specialist. That's interesting. With Steel Ball and Fang. Woot is the Fire Badger specialist with Arclight and Sledgehammer. Woot always starts on his left, your right, every single time. It is almost intentional. He likes to bait an overreaction to this tower, and then jump drive his army over to fight the other side. But Blue Hair takes the round 1, unlocks the Wasps, going to have the potential of throwing down the ranged anti-air EMP, so that should be a good answer to everything Woot wants to run. Yes, he got the corporate man. It's true. And Toast, I have GIMP open at the moment with a trying to pull faces out of the new cards so that we can have some of those as emojis.
Blue Hair going for a little bit of a tricky play.
Yeah, I
love with these Wasps round 1.
I love the round 1 Wasps, and again we talked about that. He did the early Phoenix in one of the previous matches we watched against Stupid Vegetables, and I'm not gonna lose this. I'm not gonna lose a bunch of hit points early on. That's especially important against Woot because of the way that Woot plays. Get you down to potential knockout range and then do something like that 6-boat flank on Sacco.
Yeah, no, and this is one of those things that people mean by when they say cheese, right? This is a singular Wasp group. The reality is that Woot was very likely to develop crawlers. Fangs don't really make sense there, and it's a read that I can win this round, not by a lot, but not take damage, allow myself to scale, and that's something with cost control that is desperately needed, right? Cost control only gains more value as the game goes on.
Right.
So, yeah, very cool stuff.
That's a really good use of that initial extra 100 that he has, is to unlock the air unit and deploy the Wasp there. Woot takes heavy armor. That'll be on a boat later, but for now it's going to be on the frontline Fire Badger. Blue Hair also takes it, and what are we adding? It's a Scorpion, presumably in front of that tower, right?
Yep.
And
with heavy armor.
It's a heavy armor Scorpion. Heavy armor Scorpion, head-to-head of the heavy armor Fire Badger. And then we'll have a Wasp arriving. Question, do you take the Wasp level, or do you take another chaff? Surely you take another chaff, right?
Yeah, I think it's another chaff here. Oh, no, we actually go to
tower level.
The outside tower.
That wasn't one of the options. Sir, you've not clicked one of the buttons I was offering. Way to make casters look bad, man. Blue Hair always doing the unexpected.
It is the caster curse.
It is, it's true.
Woot adding only in a pair of Phoenixes, believing that will be enough, what we call upshoot,
right,
to clear the Wasp. And it is, the reality, right, is that Wasps don't kill things very efficiently without any sort of text on the ground or in the air early on. They are one of those like super hard scaling units. You can think of them like air Mustangs, and as one or two marksmen or a group of Phoenixes can easily DPS down a whole group.
Right, and we see they did here. Blue Hair down to 4,400. Woot at 4,800. We get a unit drop.
Whoa, triple Rhino, scary. What are you thinking if you're Blue Hair here?
I want either the Mustangs or the Typhoons to answer the eventual Wasps that will come with, yes, thank you. There's the Typhoons.
Oh, and they're gone.
And they're gone, but you can unlock them later. And Woot has also taken a Typhoon. For Blue Hair, here's the Vulcan. Now, is this I'm answering what is on the board and not thinking about the Overlords play? But we do have an additional Wasp in this Wasp level. So we're kind of continuing to answer what we know what we know Woot is going to go into, but also answering the board as it is right now with the Incendiary Bomb. No, I did want to answer something Toast had brought up, which is I always thought cost control was strong early but falls off later, as the extra 100 accounts for less and less of the total percentage of income. So I kind of agree with you in that, right? By the time you're making 1,600 on round 8, plus 100 is not as valuable as it could have been. On the other hand, by round 8, you're 800 economy ahead, right?
Yeah.
So it's not... But I do kind of agree with you. It does fall off at the super, super late game. The spots where I think it's valuable are rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, where you should be about a tech ahead of some of your opponent. And in terms of this board state, that's exactly where we wound up with the fire-throwing Vulcan being one tech ahead of where Woot is at. Woot is still on 0 techs, right? Nonetheless, Woot wins the round, and we get round 4 super supply enhancements. This is the worst possible thing for the cost control specialist, because again we're losing that percentage. Like you're saying, it's going to be even less of a percentage improvement relatively. I don't think Blue Hair is in a position to knock Woot out early, and I think he does kind of have to take it, because if he doesn't take it, he's going to be down the 11% in terms of overall strength of units and down economy to the super supply enhancement. So But yeah, the idea behind the cost control, at least in the way that I want to play it, is to get the early tech advantage, and then leverage the tech advantage into the board state advantages.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, right, we want to be able to scale into the mid game. I think there's implications even later on, right, for cost control being very strong. Yeah, I think this is pretty smart for how Woot's approaching the game. Via the Typhoons, Scorpions deal with that pretty efficiently. The Vulcan, as long as it can put down more fire, which it can't currently, should be able to deal with the crawlers running in, which means, right, that the Scorpions and the Wasp are shooting the things that they need to be shooting. Right. But it looks like Woot is still maybe eking out around.
Looks like he's going to have the air war.
Oh, Woot also runs jump drive on the Phoenix that we did. Yeah. We might see for like the Overlords, right? A big pack of these Phoenixes, and if they had like launch overload too, a big pack of these Phoenixes, right, would just crush most things, especially this like left undefended tower. Would just roll right through it.
Woot takes Photon. Blue Hair took the intensive training. I like the idea of the intensive training. I really want to see the anti-air on these Wasps. We know Woot goes to air games. Instead, it'll be 2 Wasps in front, lower level 1 Wasps in front of the backline Wasps to eat some of those earlier shots.
Okay, and level 2 Wraiths with field maintenance come out. I think this is a read at AA Forts. Which is where my head was going as Blue Hair.
Right, which is what he had just seen from Sacco as well, right? There is your jump drive. He's using it to just reposition and be better behind the behind those Wraiths. For Blue Hair, the answer was range on these Wasps, not yet AA, but now that Woot is fully committed, it's going to be AA next round, I would imagine, and possibly also EMP, because EMP will turn off the healing on these Wraiths. And that is one of the things. It's going to be round 6. He'd have 1,300 in income. He can afford to drop down 1,000 in techs and still buy 2 units.
And I think it's going to be a repeat of the previous rounds where Blue Hair, while he wins the left side, is just losing too hard on the right.
Yeah, down to 850 hit points. Yeesh. Scary. Laser sights.
Yeah, you're in a spot where you can't really make a mistake now.
Right, and with jump drive already teched on those Phoenix, you can't afford to overcommit to one side or the other. There is anti-air, followed immediately by rapid resupply, and okay, so it is anti-air and EMP. That's going to turn off techs on the right side Wraith. We're going to do damage almost twice as quickly against air units. We're going to have additional range that'll keep us behind the ground game. And we've still got 500 left, 400 left after taking temp range. The 400 buys us 2 more Wasps. So full commit to the Wasp air defense. It's an air war. I will light the ground on fire and have my Wasps in the air. Unfortunately, Woot knows just how precarious Blue Hair's position is and is going for the oil, dropping it from his own territory where he knows the incendiary bomb is going to be targeting, to all the way right back through to pick up all of the chaff from Blue Hair. I like that Blue Hair is defending this side as equally as the right side. I think that's a good choice for him. pole. Oh, this pole is so nasty. Woot with a couple of crawlers out there.
Oh, he's gonna get right on the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Gets the tower debuff. He's going to get right in on the other side tower. And Blue Hair is spending the entire round playing defense, or fighting through the tower debuffs. And surrenders.
To surrender.
Yeah, that is very nicely played from Woot. Didn't put a foot wrong anywhere in this match. Knocks Blue Hair out in 6 rounds. And even I missed because of this little metal protrusion. And I know they are actually readdressing the art for all the different maps. I'm very much hoping that this metal protrusion gets taken out, because I missed this crawler when commenting about the wasp. So even the thing I thought was really nicely done was a mistake, as it turns out. There was just that Woot takes advantage of this empty gap up the middle and runs pull with crawlers on both flanks to just tear it apart. So 2 crawler flanks and the oil, and that's it. That's all she wrote.
Well played by Woot.
Yeah.
Well piloted. Put enough pressure on Blue Hair to not allow him to do that build.
Right.
Also played a very air-centric game.
Right. We knew it was going to like the air game, but no overlords. Who is this man?
Yeah, no overlords. No wasps. It was phoenixes and wraiths that carried the day.
Indeed. I did want to see Miasim versus Flower Fairy. They are deep into this one, but the other one is probably going to go longer. What do you think?
I would say go ahead and pick whichever. I need to step away for a brief moment and check on my cat, so I'll be right back.
Fair enough. Flower Fairy has actually beaten Miasim, so I don't get to watch that one. Instead, I will be jumping into the top match. We have all the fire. These are 2 players who are not afraid of the incendiary bomb losing 20 meters of range. We're just going to make up for it by double-teching our Stormcallers. And when the entire world burns, there are very few surviving units. This is why this game has gone so long. HD Susauer was originally a Farseer specialist, has taken efficient light unit manufacturing. On the other side... Ooh, who is this again? Oh, this is Master. Alright, I am the Master and you are the Servant, a cost control specialist with efficient light manufacturing and the possibility of bringing out improved War Factory. Well, this is not on me. As far as I can tell, my stream is still up. Somebody has disconnected and is losing this match on disconnect. That is one way to do it. Gilded Marksman. Very pretty. I like the gilded skin. It's my favorite. Atlantic. Wow. All right then, Toast. That is not a time zone I was at all familiar with. Did I just have a spectator bug? Is that all that happened here? Or are we just... No, it's not a spectator bug. No, maybe it was. Maybe it was a spectator bug. Look at that. We get back in and we still have a game. Scorpions for both players. Board is solid. Well, daylight has just arrived here, Toast. So, 7:30 or so. We did talk about Master having the Improved War Factory. Here it is. Improved War Factory with intensive training. It's going to be level 2. Beastly thing with missile interceptor. We're going to try to win from the left side over, which makes it pretty lucky that HD Susauer has the Scorpions, because they'll be able to throw out acid, ranged and acid Scorps, I would imagine, or possibly even sieged acid Scorps from here. Next round, they don't know where the War Factory is, so they've got their Scorpion on the wrong side at the moment. Their Scorpion is opposite the fortress. Of course, this late in a game, any round can end the game. We've got enough hit points on the board that it is so. It looks like HD Susauer had the nuke last round. We saw round 7, I think, and we missed round 8. The Master lights the right side of the board on fire. The War Factory goes down hard to these. Oh my god. Well, I can see why. That's a level 8 marksman with range, launcher overload, and elite marksman. Would you like to do 25,000 damage every 1.5 seconds? I mean, I don't mind doing that much damage. That is pretty impressive, HD Susauer. Now, it's a race for HD Susauer because tournament matches end after 13 rounds, but if you can keep winning like that, you are going to do well. Master, I think, only needs some chaff over there that gets out in front of this War Factory. Kept the fire off the ground on that side of the board. So, sells the War Factory. Going to give up on it, buy 2 War Factories on the other side. Can actually afford to mass recruit a 3rd War Factory, if you'd like. And HD Susauer sold out of the... My answer to War Factory would have been Acid Scorpion, but sold out of it, just relying on the marksman. Oh my god. It's now a level 9 marksman with amp core. So, that 25,000 damage every 1.5 seconds? I'm sorry, I meant 35,000 damage every 1.5 seconds. What's the DPS on that? That's like... Let's call it 24,000 DPS. No, you don't... I don't think you want the... I don't think you want the War Factories in front of it. In fact, how do you kill it? How on earth are you supposed to kill that? I think you'd have to have, like, extra ranged wasps. Have them arrive late. He's sending one to that side. Level 9 marksman, pretty good. Yeah, just a little. With range on the improved War Factories now, they are staying behind. And this is what I was talking about. He needed that chaff to stay in front of it. Master did. And does get that done. This round, getting so close to that tower. Still has chaff, and now the full might of the marksman is unleashed, and you can just see it is deleting that war factory. Even under tower debuff, it does decent. Kills the one war factory. The other war factory survives. So, yikes. And here, I really think selling that Scorpion was a mistake for HD Susauer. I know he just wanted to overload the board with more and more storms, but the storms get countered by the missile interceptor. Missile interceptor off the war factory is the most efficient missile interceptor. Now those guys get photon coating for 150. So they're going to have a good round. One of them has leveled already. We can level the other one if we want, or level the big one to level 3, or put down a new level 2. HD Susauer takes the EMP tech on the marksman, so right, we know last round we didn't get through to fighting the war factories until the very end of the round because of the chaff board arrival. Susauer has underground threat happening. It's just going to die to the war factory, but the idea, I think, is to keep things from this side alive just a little bit longer. Maybe clump up the chaff timing, mess with the chaff timing as well. If we can get this massive marksman locked onto the war factory for just a moment, that's all that's needed. Master has a new crawler out here. I think that's a missile distraction crawler, mostly to keep a missile off of the fangs more than anything. Might also take the early Stormcaller volleys usefully. Yeah, this board is very disgusting, right? Like, it's just amazing for both players. I just feel like, where is the acid deployment for HD Susauer? Do people not remember that acid is the war factory answer? I mean, maybe they do, and everybody runs Photon for a reason, but still. You're not going to land missiles on this pack of units over here. Stop trying. Now we've got the locks on this thing. We've turned off its techs. We are going to win it with the level 9 marksman over here. This round, the level 9 marksman gets the job done with his buddies, who are level 6, 4, and 8. But like we said, Master only needs to retain the lead through the end of round 13. It's 1794 to 1684, as close a match as you could possibly hope for. Yes, stop trying, he says, and then we see HD Susauer win with it.
Level 9 marksman. Round 12 epic. The boards are full to the brim on both sides. And this is one of those results of the recent HP nerfs to both Giant and War Factory damage. It's only 50 in respect to Giants, but it adds up.
Right, it certainly does. I mean, it was always the problem with a marksman build, right? Is when you win the rounds, you've got only your marksmen are surviving to do the 500 hit point damage or whatever. HD Susauer finally had enough Stormcallers surviving to do real damage that round.
I love these long games. I've had a couple recently, and I walk away so exhausted because of the number of lines you can take at these final rounds.
Right, you have to think through so much.
It's honestly like 90 seconds isn't enough.
No, it really isn't. I honestly feel like it should be something like the lower of maybe 80 seconds or 10 times round, something like that. the higher of even, so that you start getting an extra 10 seconds per round when you go steep into it. You know, chess clock style or something.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think for me, it's like I think round 10 and post round 10 there should be an additional 30 seconds, and
just 30.
We'll just call it even. Yeah, I think that's probably where the boards get a little too complex to fully think through in 90 seconds.
Well, both of these war factories have been EMP'd. Now the missiles are landing. Now the marksmen are landing. And I think that is enough hit points surviving to see HD Susauer through to the semifinals.
Marksman nerf incoming?
Don't think Master's one of the devs, right?
Oh man, no, it's just I don't think I've ever seen that play out in that scenario.
I hadn't.
You know, I've never seen a marksman stop a war factory push.
I hadn't either. But I had also never seen a 4-tech level 9 marksman with an amp core. So, you know, you're what am I? I'm 2,800 hours into the game, and there's still something new every time.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for more.
I have half that. I've never seen anything like that, yeah.
Yep. I mean, that was
2,800 hours, Amaroq?
Yep. And none of that is leaving the game on overnight or anything. It's legit hours on. I mean, I just find the game complex, nuanced, gripping, infinitely enjoyable. It is amazing. That's the probably the second or third game in my life that has done that for me in terms of like just always being able to find something new. All right, that left us with 3 unbeatens. HD Susauer in the spoiler role continues with the round 6 spoiler roll against Woot, and that means we will be watching the Tungdil versus Master match. Our tradition, of course, in round 6, if there is a spoiler, is to watch the match that could be the final, on the grounds that basically we don't want to miss the final. So I will put Twitch predictions up for this one.
301 dominated top 4 here. 3 301 players, 1 201 player.
.301 is representing today. Channel point prediction is up.
Do you feel like the meta was sufficiently ruffled up after 1.0 and its recent balance changes?
I mean, I like seeing that War Factory isn't just a stomp auto win. I think that was a good change. I liked the change to fire, and I think we've seen different answers to it with those 2 players running range and ignite on their Stormcallers, and Blue Hair running techs on the Vulcans instead to drop fire on the ground. We haven't seen napalm from a Badger player yet, so I think there were a lot of changes to the meta. I think it's interesting. Welcome to round 6 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. Near side, I am the master and you are the servant, will be a marksman specialist with Arclight and Stormcaller. On the far side, Tungdil 12 is still thinking about it.
Honestly, not great drafts. It was either the Rhino spec or the quick supply, and Tungdil goes for the Rhino spec.
Yeah.
But he's going to pan his board over and feel very sad seeing what...
Right. You do not want to run Tarantula into Stormcallers.
Tarantula marksman. players electing to go for a standard opener. I think in terms of probably how this first round goes, you will likely see the player with the Stormcaller take the advantage. And mainly because it looks like maybe Tungdil had messed up on his positioning slightly, with the Marksman being just in line behind the Tarantulas and taking some splash.
Yeah, that is the positioning that Yaswin Big and I had worked out for aggro Tarantula, was to have essentially have the Tarantula doing the clear, and then the Marksman needs to be there to pick up whatever the Tarantula would get stuck on. So I can see how Tungdil gets to it once he's ranged the Marksman, or he won't wind up in that splash position. But that first round is painful. Also expect.
Yeah, I think the rule of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I think the rule of thumb, right, is that you want three squares behind to dodge a sentry missile, which is like this. I think that's the correct positioning for the Marksman and the Tarantula, but I think it's 4 spaces behind if you want to play around Stormcallers. Like, I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, one way to play around Stormcallers is with the free missile call-in.
True. Just remove them from the board.
Remove them from the board for this round. So that should give Tungdil the advantage. Of course, Master took the long-term advantage of having the laser sights, which I'm kind of surprised not to see on the level 3 Marksman, but perhaps we're expecting a giant. We wanted to see if Tungdil had taken it or not. I might wind up with it on my melting point later, sort of thing. And as it turns out, Tungdil's not even going to win the round, so Master gets both the long-term value and the short-term value, drops Tungdil to 40-50. Quick skip for Master. Not interested in Elite Fangs, Elite Mustangs, mass-produced sledgehammers, or the extended range War Factory. And it's going to be a Laser Sight Vulcan on the right side. So Laser Sight Vulcan paired with the level 3 Marksman, and I think sold the Arclight. Adds a Fang over here. No, the Fang was last round. Tungdil took the mass-produced sledges, so 30% decrease in attack and hit points, but they only cost 100. Now, remember, that doesn't change the experience they give out. It just changes their combat power and cost, so like their actual fighting value and cost. So if you rely on sledge, mass-produced sledge into a hyperscale board that just relies on levels, it can be very, very bad for you, especially if you have to level them to get value out of them. And then they're giving 3x the experience for a unit that's like 1.4 times the value of a level 1. But for this round they get through the tower on the left side. They get the job done on the right. We've got Marksman locked on Vulcan. And Tungdil stabilizes and wins the round. 42-20 for Master, 40-50 for Tungdil.
Okay, unit drop coming in. We see Phoenixes, which pair beautifully with Vulcans, but so do Scorpions, truthfully. And
Arcseers for Tungdil, I really like that. Although I don't like also adding the Stormcallers on the same round. I'd rather commit to 1 missile unit than 2.
Yeah, that's super fair.
Like, if I'm going to go Farseers, I want to just commit into some techs on the Farseers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, he's also, he took the Rhino Specialist, so he's got his level 2 Rhinos. He's dropping 6 new units. So, won the round last round, has 2 Farseers, 3 Storms, and Rhino to join his board. Where Master is adding range for the Vulcan, 1 Vulcan, 2 Scorpions, and builds out the chaff board on this side with a Fang and a Crawler. I had been losing that side, so it's fair.
Interesting. I think this really favors the whoever has the more Stormcallers at this point. There's a lot of damage on the board. And those Stormcallers have to get the right volleys off, right? 3 Stormcallers, or 2 Stormcallers on the right side would very quickly remove a Scorpion and can put a lot of damage to a Vulcan pretty quickly.
Right. I was thinking the missile devices in general, whether they're the Farseer or the Stormcaller, were a really good answer for Tungdill, and does drop Master to 2920. And just sheer weight of numbers on the board, right? This is a lot of unit on the board.
Absolutely.
Adds 1 more Stormcaller, took the heavy armor for the Rhino in the back corner. Master takes a heavy armor Vulcan on the left and added Scorch and a 4th Vulcan. So it's going to be all the Vulcans, please.
Yeah, and I think this is sort of like there used to be this like when you're playing the defensive and you're playing like with forts, you fort up your holes, like your holes in your line or your holes in your defense, right? And in this case, it looks like the same is being applied, but with Vulcans. And I talked about the Wraith being the king of headbutts in terms of units. I think Stormcaller and Vulcan are the king and queen of standard currently. Long gone are the days of Melting Point reigning supreme. These 2 units in conjunction with each other can do a lot of work.
I do note that Tungdill is running EMP on both the Farseer and the Stormcaller, so has opportunities to shut off these key techs that make the Vulcans shine. I presume also has it on the Marksman, right? No, it has Assault mode on the Marksman instead of EMP. So, Marksman to kill things. Everything else to shut off the techs. Wins round 5 and drops I am the Master, you are the Servant to 1520, which, with this much surviving, that's, potentially the lethal zone.
Yeah.
Master goes for the Exodia build. I've got my melters to join my Vulcans. And for Tungdill, it was take and sell. No, sold the Rhino, puts the heavy armor on the Sabertooth. So heavy armor Saber, dealing 33,000 damage per shot versus the 67,000 hit point Vulcan over here. It's only going to take it 2 shots to get through. And
There is a world where Tungdill should take field maintenance on that Saber. Vulcans of Scorch would never be able to get through it.
Right.
It would require Ignite.
Right, and we do run Ignite, but the melter's going to be on the wrong side.
Mm-hmm.
It's in behind the laser sight Vulcan. Oh, you called it, man. You are on it today. There is the field maintenance on that Saber.
Yeah, this is one of those things that requires a melter, or if you're committing to the Vulcan play, Ignite and Infinite Shaft to hold it at bay. That Sabertooth will eventually churn through everything, and will eventually start one-shotting everything.
Yeah, it's going to take 2 shots against this thing, but it's going to be almost single-shotting every other Vulcan or Giant on the board. So
Mm.
it's amazing. If you guys enjoy that kind of commentary, insight, etc., I've given a shout out to Clint Leetwood, my co-caster, so be sure to give him a follow as well, please. Really appreciate you being here with me today, Clint, and like I said, you are on.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a lot of fun to sit here and talk about the video game.
Exactly.
I love this video game, and you love it too. It's a good time.
Yep. Like I said, infinitely engaging. Well, the problem is this thing is eventually going to get melted. There is a melter.
Or
Yes, and it has been melted.
oh no!
Yes, sorry. Tungdill down to 3,200 hit points, and Master still on 1,500. Another heavy armor. Acid for Tungdill, right, puts it on the melting point side, which is immediately shielded. For Tungdill, 2 more level 2 sledgehammer, sorry, not sledgehammer, saber-tooth. Is it just me, or should the saber-tooth actually be the sledgehammer? It's the hard hitter.
Yeah, there's a good merit to that, I think. More sledgehammer should be more like cinder block.
Ouch. So,
Yeah, I mean, with the melter on the left as well, it's going to be tough. It's gonna be tough to muscle through this in the
sold the melter from the right, and Tungdill is adding wasps as the insert. I'm going to try to light the ground on fire myself, and then I'll have the wasps as my late arriving chaff. They don't arrive in time to protect that thing from getting locked onto. It is immediately locked onto. Yes, even if the melter is now distracted by the wasps, it's not great.
Yeah, and it turns out that the Vulcans just do a little too much damage, and they're just muscling through everything here.
They are level 2 all across the board now. All of them surviving.
Yeah.
Tungdill is down to 950 hit points. Cannot afford one more round like that.
Both players kind of in that danger zone now.
Fort, Wraith, Typhoon, or Arclight. Triple Typhoon answering the Wasps for Master. Well, I mentioned this earlier in the cast, thinking about what in my board answers Vulcan or Saber, what in my board answers Overlord, what in my board answers Chaff. Well, Master has the Vulcans answering Chaff and anything major-sized, the Melter answering the giant-sized Sabers, and now has the Typhoons to answer the Wasps, along with the Marksman, who would be the Overlord answer. In this case, they'll be the Wraith answer. But, just thinking of those 4 units conceptually helps you think through a build, right? Because every unit that could be dropped fits into those little archetypes of Chaff or Vulcan or Wasp or Overlord. Like, how am I killing a flying giant or a flying thing with 15,000 plus hit points, 17,000 hit points? That's great. How am I killing? How am I killing the Wasp? How am I killing ground Chaff? And how am I killing the big things on the ground?
Yeah, it basically asks, can you deal with tanky consistent damage? Can you deal with tanky medium range damage? And can you deal with like high DPS but low HP targets, but a lot of them, right? In the Wasp. So I think it's an important question to be asking about your comps.
If your comps don't answer these things, they have a weakness that your opponent is going to use.
And you are then more, weaker to drops. Being
right.
A game ender for you. Oh, the melter goes down on the left, but so does the Wraith, the Typhoons. And yeah, I mean, these Vulcans are just too powerful.
There are 7 wasps left. There are 2 marksmen and a typhoon. And now there are 0 wasps left. Tungdil falls at round 6 of this tournament. Our 201 player, you are the master. Oh, I am the master, you are the servant, is through. Let's find out if that is a tournament final.
Nope, it's going to be Woot versus.
Woot gets it
I am the servant.
done against HD Susauer. So we will have a 7th and final round coming right up. Congrats to the exactly 50% of you that took Master. You guys were evenly balanced against each other there. I think I want to go grab a extra coffee for this.
Good.
Back up to speed here. Do you want to be in one of these other matches, or
I am picking the final round of Teddy versus Evohi Smart, I think. I'm not sure.
Too smart. Too smart. All right. We'll be back after ad with the final.
Those curious about what I am seeing versus this final round, it is a bunch of boats versus a triple teched Wasp army of aerial spec, elite marksmen, and range, muscling through an overwhelming army of overlords with mothership range and launcher overload. Another big air war, and Eddie manages to eke out that last round. And the final game of round 6 is Neopulse versus... Give me one sec. Oh, it is a 201 name. What I'm seeing currently...
This is stupid vegetables again, right?
Oh, it is. You're right, yeah. Vulcan Melter. Vulcan Melter Marksman. And some Wasps. So, yeah. Tough.
And a level 6 Rhino with armor enhancement.
Good.
Casual 250,000 hit points there.
Yeah, that's tankier than a War Factory, everybody.
Would you like a level 3 Nano Repair Wraith as well?
Yikes. With level 5 steel balls. Holy.
Is that level 5 energy absorption steel balls? Wow.
Yeah. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on stupid vegetables here. Partly because I am really loving steel ball builds right now. They're just so much fun.
That Rhino is moving.
This is beefy. We get the insta-lock, and we missile it to stop it. But then the mobile beaconed steel balls gets to tower. Down goes the tower. And now they get free reign to choose their targets, so they lock onto the melters and heal themselves back up if they've taken any damage. Very, very nice. Stupid vegetables.
Yeah, the tower goes down,
stupid.
and yeah, very competent, standard ball positioning. Great supporting.
Yeah, that was neat. All right. We are through to round 7, folks, where we will have Woot versus I am the master, you are the servant. Master has come through Teddy in round 1. Palmuha, Professor Chaos. Was this one? What I see Miasim and Tungdil, and their round 4 is This Is the End. Woot beats along the way a solid solid set of players. Beats BSG, beats Jacko, beats Alpha, Ensako, Blue Hair, and HD Susauer to get to the final. You've already beaten several champion quality players just to get here. Now has to finish it out. Of course, Woot came runner-up in Weekend Tournament Americas 72, the Vanguard Tournament Americas, and narrowly missed out on qualifying for the Mechabellum Lunch Clash. So he will be playing tomorrow in the Mechabellum Lunch Clash qualifying tournament. We start that at 9 a.m. Pacific. That would be noon Eastern, 1 p.m. Atlantic. I think it's 1800 GMT, if you know your GMT offset. 1900 Central European Standard, I believe, is the start time for that. So do hope you all are planning on joining us then. So it's 1800 CEST. Is that right? Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to trust that Zach has gotten this right, or somebody would have complained. Hello, Iziel. Welcome in. Iziel has the unenviable position of being the 65th seed for that tournament that had 64 players accepted. So Iziel is the first person on waitlist. Of course, the way that's going to work is if Iziel has checked in and any player in the tournament misses their check-in times, then Iziel gets that spot, and we'll just slot straight into their seed. So he might wind up, for example, if Jota didn't show up to his seed, instead of having to face Jota as the 64th seed, Iziel could conceivably come in as the 65th seed, take Jota's number 1 seed slot, and face the 64th seed in round 1. It's unlikely, but it is possible. I don't think Jota's planning on missing that
one. No. And my heart goes out to you on that one if you have to play against Jota.
Yes, true enough. Welcome to the final of Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. 2 deserving finalists, only one can be the champion. Nearside in blue, I am the master, you are the servant, has taken the Rhino Specialist with Mustang and Marksman. Woot, far side, a Giant Specialist with Crawler and Sledgehammer. We know where Woot wants to go as Giant Specialist, wants the free unlock of their favorite unit, the Overlord. Takes a pair of crawlers, puts them behind towers, has the crawler sledge front. I mean, there was a period, Clint, where Sledge Overlord was a meta, right?
I think it still is. I think it's still a very solid build. I I don't want to reveal my tech too much here, but I on ladder of the recent reset, I'm 5-0 with it. All the games that I've forced it from early rounds, I've won with it. So I think it's still very good.
Interesting. All right then.
It really comes online for those at home. I mean, I don't know why I'm sharing my tech, but I'm doing it. I think it really comes online when Mech Rage is clicked and Chin Gun is clicked, and then at some point you might want to click Replicate, and then you're grooving, you're killing people.
So it's the Chin Gun build rather than the range launcher overload build that you rely on for that?
Yeah, I want to play more Woot style. I kind of want to have my mobile beacon, Chin Gun overlords punch through a specific spot, cracking a tower, and let everything clean up. But yeah, it was Overlord Sledge push. It was just like get in your face, on the line, kind of like how Woot's playing it right now. And at some point you clicked Photon, at some point you clicked Jin Beam back in the day, and you lost. you just died to the push.
So I think Woot's style is well enough known at the high level that Master has taken a Marksman and Mustang starting pack in part because of the understanding what was coming. Has also picked up the Wasps with range enhancement and aerial spec available, but is going to go try to get an early tower and get some levels into those Wasps early on. Has jump drive to be able to pull them back, although that will make the other techs more expensive. Unfortunately, Woot gets to the tower first. Master, the blue-haired player, is the near side and blue. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not Master. This is, you are the Flower Fairy of things with eye. So Flower Fairy is near side blue, Woot is far side and red.
And I think we see a very typical Woot move from the blue player here. With the Wasps on round 2, with laser sights no less, right?
Right.
But immediately right after that, on round 3, we see a unit drop and double Typhoon offered up.
Both players take it. I actually really like the idea of Farseer as an answer to Woot's build. I'd like to see it tried. Maybe it has been tried and found wanting, so that's why I don't see it tried. But on the grounds that the Farseer answers pretty much every part of the build. Of course, it's the ranged air and ground unit. So, Flower Fairy, near side blue, is the Scorpion and Typhoon. Woot, far side red, is the Giant Specialist. Not sure how I got Master and Flower Fairy confused earlier. When that happened, I'm going to blame the early hour. Of course, it's tournament started at 5 a.m. for me. We are 3 hours into it. 3 hours of action comes down to these two players. Flower Fairy adds the Wasp flank, also gave the Wasps the laser sight, so jump drives them over there, has them show up, they'll answer, the Fang Pack is going to slow them down and do damage, but again, we're trying to get through and get an early tower. Meanwhile, the Typhoons really stopped this push that was relying on those level 2 crawlers.
The Scorpion's going to get a lot of work done in this debuff time.
Right. Really did. The Wasps are eventually dead. That Scorpion survives with like a sliver of hit points. Woot is down to 3,400 hit points. Flower Fairy still at 4,750.
Ooh, redeploy. Windmill Slam from Woot. Immediately techs into Overlord.
Yeah, as the Overlords, the redeploy lets him jump drive the Overlord and the Typhoons together, if that's what he decides he wants. Flower Fairy was the Rhino Specialist, has that level 2 Rhino showing up to go answer the Typhoon on the far side, but goes double Scorpion this round to further answer Typhoons, which of course is going to be a problem when we have Overlord. Imagine if Worms had a version of Jump Jet, like So, are you imagining they would deploy somewhere on the battlefield, or because they have anti-air? What are you thinking, Toast? Ooh.
Wow, a wild pivot from Woot opening up on the left side with Overlord, Typhoon with the laser sight, and Brawler.
Right, and this mobile beaconed Rhino is going to run right past all of it. The missiles into each other, so both the Chaff and the Rhino the Rhino gets slowed, the Chaff gets deleted. So this Scorpion actually pretty well positioned for Flower Fairy. Unfortunately, it's going to get dinged by the Overlord before it even gets started.
Oh.
Only deletes one of the Typhoons.
Now it comes down to tower timings.
And so it begins. The mini Overlord push has started. You know it's coming, you just need to have a way to defeat it. And Flower Fairy does this round. Woot is down to 25-12. But as we saw against Sacco, Woot will hemorrhage some hit points early and just turn it into this tremendous swingy rounds. It's like, ever played Risk? I always thought that was the bad game design element of Risk, was that it was, you swing, one player swings and takes 2/3 of the board, the next player swings and takes 3/4 of the board, and the next player swings and wins. And it's like, okay, yes, it guarantees at the end of the game, but it's just not balanced. Woot redeploys the Typhoon over to the other side. That is what Toast was talking about, if the Worm has had the ability to deploy anywhere on the board.
Interesting.
That would be terrifying. Oh my god. They would need to be tuned around having that ability, of course. That is, by the way, part of why Overlords have such un-Giant-esque hit points. They don't really reach giant hit point levels until they're level 2. It's partly because they have jump drive.
Yeah, they used to have higher HP, higher damage, and faster attack interval, by the way.
And yeah, they were
nightmares.
So their value now is in the hit point damage to the tower, and they're still, other than that, they're kind of comparable to a Wraith in terms of hit points. But of course, they do different amounts of damage at different ranges. Flower Fairy has added triple Phoenix. No, it's double Phoenix, I guess, as their call-in. I'm going to try and do extra damage to the key single target units. No new Overlord for Woot. I'm a little surprised. I was kind of expecting more Overlords. Instead, it's Overlord level. Still gets through the tower with Phoenix doing the damage to the tower. We're down to a very similar looking end. Again, Flower Fairy gets that tower, engages during tower debuff. This time, though, Woot gets the right side tower, wins the round. It's not a huge swing yet, but it drops Flower Fairy down to 37-38.
I think this is all Woot needs, man. He needs one little window that you give him, and he will start to open it up. We even wrestle the game back. Double. Oh, okay.
I was actually
I
surprised
thought
Woot
Fairy Child double.
take the double deployment, because if he took the double deployment, he'd be able to pivot back over to the right side tower with two Typhoons and all the Overlords. It'd just be the most ridiculous thing. Honestly think that...
The true hit him with the left hook, hit him with the right hook.
Yeah. I honestly think that Redeploy and Mobile Beacon are the two biggest skill differentiators in terms of some of the high-level play. Watching somebody like Rat use redeployment, jump drive, and mobile beacons as a scalpel to win against boards that he's way behind economically on. It's just incredible to watch. It's so much fun. It's
Redeploy. I've recently been going into the aggro play space, and Redeploy is very much one of my favorite cards. It does so much. The reality, right, is if you're limited on deploys, with selling stuff, moving stuff, and with mass recruitment, you get to effectively touch 5 pieces on the board, and that is a lot.
right.
Normally, you don't get to do that. So. And yeah, Woot is forcing this pocket open. He's going to take this tower again.
You can see it. He's driving through a wedge and then gets to clean up during the tower debuff. So he creates that wedge, and the key piece to creating that wedge, of course, is the debuff to Overlord with Chin Gun. So whatever we're trying to put in the way, it's deleted. The rest of it is able to just push through on the ground. So 2 rounds. He's caught up the entire set of the first 4 rounds. We're at 25-12 to 24-34.
So if you're blue here, what do you think you need to do?
The EMP to turn off the Chin Gun is pretty good, but I would worry that Woot just takes Photon when he sees it. He's got it on the bar. And Woot is dropping the acid in front of us. Okay, so we're gonna force the Overlords out in front. Trying to think what other pieces I would want to see from them. Range and charged shot on the Phoenix could be interesting, and I think we needed one more Typhoon out here to handle some of this. Well, maybe the Mustangs do it, but I was thinking actually, Fang with portable shield could slow this down quite a bit. Just get them out in front of this bush. Force them to stop, in part because a mobile beaconed unit stops when there's a unit within its path within range. So, even if even if they die pretty quickly, it's time that they're not moving, right? Yeah. Whereas if they're moving through this empty space, even if they're shooting off to the side, they'll still move through it.
Yeah, I think the major difference maker here in these final bits of each of one of the rounds is that the reinforced tower is going down for Blue at the same time the unfortified tower for our Blue player is going down.
Yeah.
Which means that Blue's debuff timing is just longer.
Right. Yeah, the debuff time just takes too long. Or it's 9 seconds off of this tower, it's 5 seconds off of this one. And well, now look at this. The oil was enough to kind of force the Overlords out in front and bought enough time for the Scorpions to delete a lot of the ground units. And Flower Fairy wins around 7, drops Woot to 1580. So really nice, even without the what I was thinking of to slow them down. This is a much better answer. Woot gets Photon this round. Okay, the key part of that, of course, was having hit them with the EMP. There is no EMP this round. There is Photon. I expect Woot will bounce back from that. the photon was just, or the EMP was so good in terms of slowing units down, damaging the bubbles, turning off the chin guns.
Chin guns is a big one, yeah.
So expect we see Woot push through this time. There is the Typhoon I wanted to see out on this side. I'm surprised we haven't...
Typhoon Overlord is so interesting, man. It feels like this comp shouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
Does that feel the same for you?
Well, one of the things I've been thinking about is how do you build, what are you building your comps to? And one of the things is speed, right? So
sure.
These guys are moving 13 meters per second. The Typhoons are moving 12 meters per second. I mean, it makes sense. They're going to stick together. They're going to fight together. And now they have the armored wraiths out in front to tank the Typhoons, so...
Well, like one of those old StarCraft 2 death balls.
Yes, it's definitely the death ball strat.
We'll see Photon now, perhaps making huge difference.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tremendous. Of course, Photon doesn't affect the shield bubbles. It only affects the hit point damage dealt. But it's tremendous against the hit point damage dealt. Still, there is just enough in front of tower to keep key units off of that tower. And that will get the round done for Flower Fairy. This is amazing. The oil has been so valuable. And that was the oil off of tower, so unless it's offered again, it's not repeatable. But 2 rounds of oil has dropped Woot to 380 hit points. He's tried to force it over the oil rather than jump driving and redeploying off of it. Now we get 3 level 2 steel balls for Woot. Meanwhile, there was Sabertooth for Flower Fairy. I believe that was just an insta-sell. Anti-air Mustangs. Shield Bubble Typhoons.
He gonna jump drive everything? I think he is.
This is the time, right? Yeah, he's setting up for it with the steel balls, with the redeploy. There's the jump drive.
Oh man.
This is classic Woot, right? He wants to get you to overcommit to one side so he can switch sides and go for the knockout on the other side. Elite Anti-Air Marksman for Flower Fairy. Genetic, we can certainly talk about that. There are approaches to it, and one of the ones, because this was a really common meta for a long time, and it feels like people have somewhat are trying to solve it anew every time they face Woot, rather than having a canned answer. But there used to be a canned answer to it, and it's actually kind of funny. It was to completely commit to defending the side he's not attacking.
Oh my gosh. Is this enough?
Yeah, he has...
Are we gonna run into a wall over here?
He's gotten through the tower, but the tower T-buff has worn off. Arrives, runs into the wall, gets the tower right at the end, but it's not enough to win. In fact, it's enough for Flower Fairy to claim a weekend tournament Asia number 73. Well played. And Genetic, this is exactly what I was talking about, where if you are super heavily invested in one side, and imagine that this is the board state all along. There was no jump drive, right? If Woot is always attacking this side, and you fortify that tower a little bit, but really commit to defending the other tower, and he doesn't have anything to punish you during the tower debuff. He spends his whole time his whole tower debuff moving, and you're back to fighting form by the time he's engaging your units on the other side. He's not actually gaining anything by gaining that tower, right? A little bit of experience, but it's not as much. And then if the strat just relies on the unpredictability of the jump drive, if the person piloting it isn't as competent as Woot is, right? So people who are copying it because they've seen it on Woot's stream generally aren't. You just completely confuse them by refusing to buy into the trap, right? It just leaves them with like, wait, what am I supposed to do now? I don't have it plotted, right? Woot will have it answered. Woot will have an idea of what to do in that case, and will know how to make use of the tower debuff. But the other person, the player who's just completely committed to it, generally doesn't. And you would see that a lot. The old meta version of this was all the overlords and a Vulcan on the flank, right? Like, and then, once you've super defended over here, I sell the Vulcan and I jump drive everything to the other side, and I hit you from the front of this tower where it's just been completely undefended. But you could just ignore that, just level the tower up and defend your far side, and it winds up working. I think Woot's answer would probably be mobile beaconing straight into this one when leaving just a couple of units on the undefended tower. But it is a plan to try if this one is frustrating you. Also, good Saturday to Esmerit and Temerin. Clint, anything you wanted to add about this board?
I think the oil really showed up. It's one of those cards that is like highly contentious in the community, and I think it's because of how board warping it was and is.
Right.
At the end of the day, it is a part of the game, and it is something that we have to all learn how to play around. And kudos to Flower Fairy for finding a nearly perfect oil and exploiting it, and really winning back a lot of tempo from a player that is known for these high tempo, high variable swing rounds with jump drive boats.
Right. I was surprised Woot tried to force it the second round in a row and didn't do his redeploy on round 8 instead of round 9, because once he knew the oil was there, I think that jumping away was the right choice. But I'm not sure it would have made a difference. I think Flower Fairy just had a very, very solid board state, and that the key in that last round was having gone for the triple elite recruited marksman and teched aerial spec and elite marksman onto the marksman. So the overall damage output from the marksman was just huge in that last round. Really chewed down the overlords there. Woot, runner-up, loses the final in back-to-back weekend tournaments. Weekend Tournament Americas number 72 and Weekend Tournament Asia number 73. Rough go. Congratulations to our tournament winners. Flower Fairy, your champion. Tungdil, runner-up. Genetic, third. Miasim, fourth. Alpha, fifth. Woot abandons after losing that match, so winds up officially sixth. Would have placed fourth, I think, if he had stuck it out. This is Master. You can see how I get those two names confused, I think. If I'm trying to work from here. So Master 7th is this Stupid Vegetables? Oh no, Cat Emperor 8th, Mighty Mirage 9th, Armeria 10th. Congratulations to our winners. We will show all the way down through 30th. So congrats to Teddy, a top 20 finish in a stacked field. Very nicely done. Teddy is, I believe, 4th on the wait list for the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament. So one of those players who's looking to get their slot if somebody doesn't show up. There is our that's our tournament standings. Yeah, Clint?
In slightly unrelated news, Mechabellum has recently peaked at its all-time active player base at 5,264 players online.
Very nice.
How cool is that?
That is pretty cool. That is peak of 5,000. Very nice. I'm very much hoping that this is a successful launch, that the company gets the rewards that, I mean, honestly, I think Bear Like Me, a Sim, and the dev team deserve so much credit for having built this game. And I know there's always going to be people who complain in a community, but this is, it's one of 3 games I can think of in my life that have this just kind of infinite variability that they just keep me coming back to it over and over and over. So, yeah, really well done, guys.
I mean, it's my most played game on Steam. Ahead of Path of Exile, and that's saying something. Path of Exile is infinitely replayable.
Right.
Here I am, still queuing up for Mechabellum.
Yeah, it has actually passed mine, so it's also my all-time high now, having passed XCOM Enemy Unknown, which of course I was playing on the long
there you
patch
go.
for, infinite challenge. So, well, congratulations again to Flower Fairy. Flower Fairy had already qualified for the Mechabellum Launch Clash tournament tomorrow. Wins another weekend tournament here. I believe that is back-to-back. No, it's week 71. Is it 71 and 72? Or is it back-to-back here? Not back-to-back. Yeah, it's weekend 71 and weekend 73. So, congratulations to them. No, and congratulations, Genetic. 3rd place is no mean feat. All right, I'm going to take a break between now and the European tournament later today. Clint, you are planning to join me for that, if I recall?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, I'll look forward to seeing you then. Are you going to be on? Should I raid over to you, or should I raid somewhere else?
Yeah, right over to someone else. I think I'm going to do some solo stuff.
All right, cool. Enjoy your morning. Thanks for getting up really early to join me. Really appreciate you being here.
Hey, it's always fun. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Folks, I'm going to raid you guys on over to Rooster, since Rooster was co-casting with me a couple of weeks ago. Love to support his channel. If you are new to the game, this is one of the guys who knows it really, really well, and is just generally a good guy, Dutch streamer, and genuine human being off of the stream as well. So please give him some love and support, and thanks for watching.
Damn it, he did range them. Do these turn?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you to everybody out there, to Zach, Zalex, Cody, Alpha, Wolf Factory, Decaf, Ocelotus Gaming, Ghoster Supreme, you guys are the mods, and to our VIP sponsors, starting with Toast, who was here all day today, including Just Nash XYZ, Blue Feral, Ocelotus Gaming, Xspire X, Salt Monkey is Zach, Mr. John 30.